I have two very important guests, Romain de Vaubert and Jean-Max Maurice. You're the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Creative Officer.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you do at Amplitude to start with?
What we do at Amplitude, so for me, basically, I'm the leader of Amplitude, the CEO. But we were not always a studio of 170 people. That's what we are today. But initially, when we started, we were just like a bunch of 10 people. And obviously, at the beginning, I was on the creation side. And nowadays, it's just to make sure that everyone could create these most amazing games that we do, these universes, in the best conditions possible. So we can keep creativity as what matters the most to us, so we can keep surprising our players with this genre of games that we love so much, especially the 4X games.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm the CCO at Amplitude, so Chief Creative Officer, as you said, and basically oversee everything creative, from gameplay to art, to narrative, to sound, to music. And it doesn't mean that I have all the ideas for all these disciplines. It means that I basically foster an environment and listen to people, and then federate around the vision and move forward and make sure it is being carried through to the end of development. I joined Amplitude 7 years ago, so I basically followed in Romain's footsteps because he used to be the CCO as well. So I've been able to really, discover and love, and now want to develop Amplitude's games, especially the Endless Universe, of course. So it's just, it's a dream job.
Yeah. So you've both kind of gone from being very much hands-on until more and more kind of high level, making sure that everyone has what they need to carry on the vision. And
I mean, we make real ambitious games, and sometimes it's really difficult for just 10 people to make these games. So with that, we have to grow, and when we have to grow, sometimes we need to be able to make sure everyone who joins us to make these games could be in perfect conditions to be creative, to be innovative, motivated. So yes, I think that's why we can't do everything ourselves.
Right, and so it's
Sorry, he used to be the lead designer on Battlefield, though. So yes, he went from more hands-on to
and even actually, you know what? When we came back to or create Amplitude, I mean, this hands-on I was really missing.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
To be honest, I still miss it. I'm jealous actually of people being more hands-on. But I think when I see the results of what we're doing as a team, it's worth everything, and letting go on some of the things I would have loved to do myself.
Well, it's important, I think, to have managers who were in that position and not just managers who their only skill is to manage. It's important to know what the developers and the artists are going through.
Yeah, and why you're doing it, because it's all about the motivation, the dream, and to keep that, very much alive, which is also something, as you know, we're back in being independent, and that is also to keep that spark alive. We're so happy to be back on that, and yes, it is so we can keep doing what makes us want to wake up in the morning. Sure. And go with a smile at the office.
So can you tell me a little bit about Amplitude's history over the last 14 years, and obviously the most recent big change? What's that been like?
So obviously, the very beginning was basically, we could nearly call it a garage, but it wasn't a garage. It was kind of nearly an apartment. No, but we were all a bunch of people from Ubisoft, and we loved 4X, since ever. But where we were, it was not the most looked for type of games, it was other great games, but when you came to say, hey, what about a 4X? I was like, no. so at one point, okay, we realized that, we wanted to make these games, we had to go and make them ourselves, basically. So that's what we did. One thing, though, what we noticed at the time as players is we loved our games. We loved all these other forex we were playing. But the other forex we were playing before Amplitude were forexes it was difficult for us to share these games with our friends. When we're trying to show these other forexes, nobody could understand why we were playing them. So it was like, okay, no, really, it's cool. But then you realize that everything which is cool is just happening in your head. It's not really visible.
Emergent gameplay.
Yes, exactly. It's all emergent gameplay. There's a fantasy, a storytelling that's happening again in your head and showing the game. Even explaining the game or the interest of the game was very difficult. So the dream we had at the time was to try to bring more art in the game, to try to focus on everything we learned about by working, on bigger games about 3D art, 2D art, basically the taste you bring in these games, this focus you bring in it, on the writing, on the music, on the UI, and try to really make these amazing games in game mechanics, but so it could be not all about game mechanics, but it would be game mechanics meaning art. And I think that was the origin of all of that. And we tried that for the first time with Endless Space. Endless Space for us, being in space, space being, a bit empty, it was also easier for us to do for the first time. It was very nice balls with, that were planets and with amazing vehicles fighting. So a lot of the money went into the battles, to be honest. And that was the very beginning. And we tried recreating a universe. We did work on a universe in the past, and with that we learned a lot on how to create a universe. And then we were hoping people would like it. When I were about to ship Endless Space, actually I told my team that the game was not ready. I did not want to ship, so I wanted to stop everyone, and they had to invite some players over at the office, a small office.
To convince you
to show me how they were playing it. They tell me, dude, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let it go. I love it. And it was no. You're saying that to be nice to me, but we can't do this. The game is not finished. Like, no, really, it's fine. And then the rest is history. I was really surprised because I wanted to do so much more, on the game, and then I had to accept that actually the players were right, and that's why also we created the games together to really keep, that relationship between the players and ourselves, and even to the point where to realize that there's some creative elements we would not do ourselves. And that's why to work with the community, to do something you would never do, was something really motivating for us. And that's something we explored a bit with Endless Space, but a lot more with Endless Legend, Endless Space 2. And sometimes, there were even elements when we said, I will never do this. For example, I will never have flying trees, in space. And the first thing that the community asked for is a flying tree in space. And it is amazing. So I changed my mind. Thank you, guys. But yeah, so basically, I think this is also why we created this universe, which is so amazing, because it's not just about us creating a universe. It's about not us, the studio, but it's us with the community. And I think all together, we still don't know where it's going to go, because it's something that is ever evolving together.
Yeah, Romain talked about the, knowing to let go. I think as an artist, that's something that everyone struggles with. For you have kind of control of the creative vision of the studio. How do you handle that, and what's your vision for the future?
The legal ways, I do. You just learn to let it go, as Romain said. I think, in this day and age of live operations, you do go live, but then, there's always stuff that you can change. About the game, of course, you should be very confident with what you launch, but Amplitude was founded on the idea that they couldn't do everything themselves, and they would ask the experts, meaning the community. And so being able to liaise with them on a daily basis and getting their feedback, I mean, literally them coming to the office saying, launch the game. is incredibly precious. So there's always that feeling of, it's not what I wanted to be today, but you get so much love, and you're able to prioritize thanks to the people that give you that love, and then you get to tweak and answer their concerns. And so I think it's much easier right now than it was 20 years ago when I started.
Yeah, because 20 years ago when you stopped and published,
Yep.
that was it. There was no patch.
That was it.
That was the
it.
end.
Actually, that was, I think patches, I don't know. Which year did patches
Probably about
appear?
20 years ago.
At first, it was really frowned upon. Like to
Yes.
make a patch. The console manufacturers hated it, so you really had to explain why you needed one. But the worst, I think, for me was at first you press the button to ship the game, and then you had to wait 1 month because you had to print, and then to ship
Sure.
to the stores. So for 1 month, you had no idea if the game was good or bad. You just had to wait. So of course, fixing some bugs, that were still in the game before later when the patches were allowed. But that month of wait between the moment we finished the game and the game hitting the stores was torture.
We're talking about a time where major publishers didn't believe in digital.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
It's hard to imagine today.
It's hard to imagine, but all that mattered were, the number of boxes you put in stores day one, and that was it. Then your first week sales were like the defining figure for what you were going to do, and so yeah.
All right, well, speaking about the community, we are going to have a little bit of Q&A very shortly. So if you have some questions for our two guests, please put them in the chat and we'll get back to them shortly. I'd like to touch a little bit more upon, and we'll have a little bit more of this later down the line with Laurine and Sergio, but can you tell me a little bit more about the importance that the audience is going to have, because we're going to talk about the partner that has changed, but this is the partner that hasn't changed, the audience. And tell me more about Games Together and amplifiers, insiders. How does that work? You touched upon it a little bit.
I mean, I think you should answer that because you invented early access.
I'll not go there. No, but we were among the first ones, when it was called Play the Alpha. And obviously, we were among the first games within this space. I would love to know if it was the first one, the second one, third one, but it was, the very beginning of that.
I heard it was the first one.
It was a long time ago, but anyway. So no. It's so the thing is, we always want to see what is good and bad about the game before it ships. So that's why we love early access. It is very difficult to do an early access when you are within, a bigger company, because when you have an early access, the reality is you don't know when the game will ship. Try to be in a big organization with thousands of people, like depending on you, and tell them, well, the game will ship. I don't know. They will tell you. It's like, no, no, you need to tell me when, because the whole company has to work around that. So that something which is a bit tricky. And as a developer, we really miss that, to be able to play with the unfinished game with your community, with as many players as they want. Come and join you.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, so we did create some other systems, to try to kind of have short-time demos where people could come, look at a specific aspect of the game, with this insiders program, which I think was really cool. Because sometimes, when you look at a whole early access, you can speak about everything about the game, and sometimes it's huge. It's a lot of feedback to get, and you may miss some elements. When you have a focused insiders, it is quite interesting because you can really focus on the battle, focus on diplomacy. You can have a topic where the whole community looks at that.
Yeah, I mean, G2G, Games Together, was invented 14 years ago. I think that's it's a striking idea to me to, from day one to want to reach out to the people, like basically saying, you might know better than I do. And I think that's the core philosophy. Of course, The company, the talent, the experience has grown. More people have joined, and with the sprawling amount of data that we now have to face, we're still continuing to adapt and tweak and learn how to use the tools. Sometimes we get feedback, but there are biases in that feedback. If you get feedback from someone that likes you, sometimes so you have to work around some of those things. But yeah, I mean, we'll continue. It's key to our philosophy. We have our G2G people hard at work on the next stages, and so yeah, that's here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, two brains are always better than one.
Yes.
And so someone backstage was telling me that the way insiders work that works really well is that you have people come in every month. So every month you have a new perspective, because it is true that when you're in your project for months and years, after all, you can't have a clear vision about this project.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know if it's good or bad because
you might say, for example, this feature is so much better than what we had before, and someone new might say, but it's still not good. It's better, but it's not good. So it's
definitely.
Very cool. Well, I think it's a great way of doing things. And so was that the main reason for parting ways with Sega? Because you had a good relationship publishing a few games with them.
Sega is an amazing publisher, and we're extremely lucky. To be with them all the time. And actually, probably humankind would have never existed, without them. I mean, it was really something amazing we did together.
Which was kind of your dream project.
Yes,
at the time.
it was definitely the dream project when we created AMPLITUDE. Actually, we always dreamt to do, our own historical 4X, but we knew. It was really, really, really complicated. So we wanted to go step by step and to get there.
Hence the creation of the Endless Universe, because first 4X on the 2D plane in space. We need lore for that. Let's create the Endless. Jeff will talk about this in more detail and much better than me. Then land on a planet, and that's legend. And once we know how to do that, well, how about some history? But the vision, I think, was really, really good and fluid. And what's great about that is what was originally, the lore for a first game developed into the main creative driving force for the studio, the Endless Universe.
A history in itself.
Yes.
Because I think when you play a game, you have to believe, in what you play. I mean, you need to believe in that universe. You need to believe in these characters. You don't want to be distant. You want to be part of it. And when you're part of it, when your people will die for you, you will feel for it. So you don't want them. You want to protect them. You want to fight for them. You want to be their good leader. So that suddenly you create that bond between the game and yourself, and it goes way beyond just numbers.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. Do we have any questions in chat now before we move on to the next portion? So Stelpa asks, in your opinion, what is the greatest 4X game ever made?
There's not one. There's several. There's one I want to say, but I'm biased, so I will say it just because today is our day, so I can say it. I think Endless Legend is on the top over there somewhere, but it's not allowed. So I will say I will remove AMPLITUDE games. And I would say, so Master of Orion 2, Civ 4, Civilization 4, sorry. There's one for some people, I don't even know if it is a 4X, but I think it is in a way. If you remember Master of Magic, a long time ago, the reality is, for the ones who played it, the one at the time, I think you could not really finish the game, actually, but the fantasy was amazing. So it was quite buggy. So for me, that would be kind of the three, and it's not a mystery why we have also a fantasy game, a space game, and a historical game.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll just say one, and I'll be very corporate about this. I'll say Space 2. Just because, it's a great game, but the UI and the animation and the sound and the music, I think, are second to none. And actually, when I played it again a few days ago, and it's that, you know, I need to live up to our own games, because that one was such a moment. I think it was a bit unlucky in some of the, you know, the phases of how, you know, it was developed, but it's an amazing game. I love it.
On the tech side, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a drama within Amplitude. You know, sometimes you know, Space 2 has been a tough moment for the team because of the tech side. But I agree with you on the art side. I mean, it's a jewel.
I love it. The stories, yeah. I mean, just going in and out of that system view. I could do that all day.
That's your gameplay loop, right?
Pure dopamine.
All right, what is our next question from chat? Lucy asks, how hard was it to structure a narrative onto a 4X, and how do you think it improves your game and makes it unique?
Very good question. I think you can talk about, you know, the premises. But I think, you know, there's this quite strong cliche about 4X games that, you know, they're Excel sheets, and you just look at the numbers go up or down.
Bad players.
When you say that, you kind of miss the point of, you know, the whole fantasy is happening in the player's head. And those numbers, they mean something, there's a fantasy. So that's narrative in itself. So, you know, that is narrative. Those numbers do tell a story. The resources and the planets, that's already a story. But then when you have someone that can really bring that to the next level, like Jeff, and pour that lore, but also that structure, those choices, and it's such, you know, the way we do it, and we're still learning, and we're still, you know, want to hone the recipe, but it brings the game to another dimension because it makes you connect with characters, with places, with traditions, with cultures, and I think it's just a tremendous breathing moment and pacing element.
It gives us kind of two different levels. You can have the people who just want the gameplay, they have the gameplay, and the people who want to go further, it doesn't take away from the gameplay, but they just have more to discover and lots of wikis to read and fill out.
And fill out, yes.
No, but it's true. It is tricky to create, storytelling in a 4X environment because you play so many games. You don't want your stories to be twice the same, right?
Sure.
So you always have to think about what will happen if I do it again. What happens if I mix up all my different stories? How can this make sense? And so it's all about giving tools for the players to tell them so they could tell their own story when they play the game. So they don't play your story you've written for them. And you succeeded when you know they will play their own story, and that's where you're happy. So it's all about the tools. And at first, it was a bit intimidating to try to create these tools.
Yeah. All right. Do we have another question in chat? Next lie, what is the game you liked most doing or making? Might not be your favorite game.
No, but you know what? I think, I'm sorry, I think I'm a broken record, but I will say again, Endless Legend. I think Endless Legend was amazing to make. So the thing is, I don't know how many of people watching us are video game makers, but it's usually always a pain to make a game. So it's always difficult, you know, you always have fun moments, which is usually at the beginning, sometimes at the end. The middle could be huge pain. But still, you know, I think a few years after, you remember only the best elements. And I think, I loved that moment.
Yeah, to me, it's Humankind. I mean, that was when I first joined Amplitude. I was working on the kind of tail end of Space 2's DLCs, but I really, delved into the heart of the Humankind production, and creatively speaking, in terms of, all the systems were there, but creatively, as an experience, there was so much that was left to do, and I was able to really, get to work, and the fact that it was historical, the fact that we have a famous competitor, everything was super exciting, thrilling.
Cool. All right, and our last question for the evening from Thibaut. Before revealing the game, what were the biggest challenges you encountered developing this new one?
For revealing any game?
No, the next game,
Oh,
the one
the
that is
game.
going to be revealed.
The game.
What were the biggest challenge?
I have no
Yes.
idea what they're talking about.
No challenges. It was easy peasy.
Not sure. Not sure. I think
Was it teasing the game, maybe?
teasing the game was
Yeah?
hard. I think teasing the game was really hard, especially because I could not even open up properly my shirts. No,
Not yet.
that was a painful.
I've had mine open the right way for
For
10
about
minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. Nice
So,
shirt, guys.
so that was good.
No, except that painful moment. I don't know. It was all joy, obviously.
Well, then tell us, what is coming next for you for the studio, the game, and maybe a next partnership?
So actually, there's so obviously leaving Sega. Suddenly we felt a bit alone in the world. It was like, whoa, okay, what's happening? And we're afraid to be a bit too lonely. We have a lot of players around us, and that's great. And again, thank you guys for being there. But it's especially right now, it's difficult to navigate the waters of video games. So you wanted to make sure we had friends with us who could help us, show us the lights, explain, what's happening, and so we could focus on making games. So we'll not be focusing on something which is not needed in the actual gameplay. So with that in mind, personally, I realized that last year that all the games I was playing were all coming from the same publisher. And it's weird because it's game I picked up randomly. Just saw them, on Steam, and just, oh, that looks cool. Yeah, we play this one, then I play that one. And yeah, maybe it could be more than a year, but all the last games I played seriously at were all coming from Hooded Horse. But that was it. I was like, just said, oh, they're cool. These guys, I think they're trying to make games for me. And then we happened to encounter these guys not so long ago, and we just told them, well, guys, I have to tell you, you're making games for me. You didn't know, but actually, I just buy all your games. And then they heard about, the Sega story, that we're leaving Sega, and well, actually, we just love your games, and actually, maybe you're making games for me. So, oh, well, actually, let's discuss. And I think we decided to basically part ways, to combine our forces, because I think the next game is, perfect. I think they know how to speak to our players. If they're speaking to me, I think they could speak to many of our players. And I think they could definitely help us focusing on what's right, and making actually even better games. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
Two great entities who are going to join forces to make something. We don't know what it is, right, guys?
No, we don't know.
But I do think the key word is two.
Hello, Stephen.
You're
No, I was going to
almost
say.
there.
I was going to say. Hello, Steve. Hello, Jeff. Where's your friend?
He's the one with the British accent. Yes. Unfortunately, Steve had this may sound silly, but a tragic soccer football playing accident. So he's stuck in the UK. So he couldn't make it here tonight. Unfortunately, he obviously wanted to be here, but he couldn't.
But this is the 21st century.
Yes, and we've been working from home for ages. So
Magic of live production.
yeah, okay. Okay. Anyway, so
You see, it did
will
say
be joining us.
Steve.
Steve, imagine Steve here.
All right. Well, he will join us eventually, hopefully. Meanwhile, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, Mr. Lore Master, and what you did on... oh, wait. I hear that he has joined us. Hey,
Yes,
there we go.
We have Steve. We are Steve positive. Good evening.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. Yeah, I'm back in UK. I'm a little bit more craver than before because I've got a big metal rod in my ankle now.
That
Just to
sounds
give
great.
a quick introduction, I've been with the studio as a writer for about 12 years, freelance at first. They let me come and join full time. So Endless Legend I've worked on, Endless Space 2, Humankind, and now we can finally reveal Endless Legend 2.
Very cool. And I interrupted you. Can you please tell us about what you've done on the game?
Yeah. So my name is Jeff Spock. My title is narrative director, which is a little deceiving. Basically, what Steve and I do, is we're responsible for all the lore, the universe, the world building, and basically all the texts as well. The quests, the events, the biographies, the faction backstories. I mean, obviously, this is done with art and design. We have this sort of constant circle of ideas and brainstorming that we go through as 3 separate teams. But basically, if it comes down to words in the game, if they're not good, it's my fault or Steve's fault. So that's
Duly
my
noted.
job. Yeah, that's how it is.
Well, you two have been working on the game for
A few years.
for a while.
Yep.
How does it feel to finally have it out there and announced to the world?
It's very exciting. It's also a very kind of proud moment as well for the team to see that trailer put together and see all the amazing kind of disciplines that come together to make that. It's also a bit nerve-wracking because it's the first show of it, and we have such a good legacy to uphold with Endless Legend. So it's a mix of feelings, but really good.
Yeah, it's actually a good analogy because as writers, we do the lore, we do the quests, we work on things like that. We make it as good as we can, but we're like only one instrument in the orchestra, and so it's really cool hearing the harp and the small metal drum thing whose name I forgot. It sounds really cool. Thank you. Yes, but then when you add the orchestra and you add the chorus and you hear these theme songs played like that, and that's kind of like what our job is. I think is we do what we can, but then the art comes in, the sound design comes in, the gameplay is there to keep, and that's that's the orchestra, and that's what we can finally show in the trailer and see and get out in the hands of the community now, and that's just a fantastic moment, fabulous moment.
That's when you get the complete experience.
Yeah.
Everything by itself is
Right.
okay, but everything put together makes the whole package.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about lore. Last we left off, we were on we were on Ariga, and we are no longer there. What happened?
I'll start this one. Maybe Steve can finish it. Auriga was the planet from Endless Legend 1. And it had this amazing thing where the winters kept getting longer. Okay, and that was this amazing changing gameplay situation that we discussed before tonight, that the player had to sort of fight against and figure out how to strategize around that. But the fact of the matter is, in the lore and the timeline of the universe, at the end of Endless Legend 1, Sad is a big ball of ice. And in Endless Space 2, Auriga is a big ball of ice. And in Endless Space 2, you can actually discover it as a planet that is just a big ball of ice. So necessarily, Endless Legend 2 could not happen there, or it'd be an extremely one-dimensional experience, let's say.
Yeah.
So Steve and the team, the artists and the designers and I all together invented Sayada. So Steve, you can take it away with that one.
So yeah, I mean, just echoing what Jeff's saying, I think Auriga was really beaten up in that first game. I mean, it's had cataclysms, it's had hyper-evolution, it's had crash landings. So, we wanted to let Auriga kind of rest in peace. So Cider is the big new world. Obviously, the big kind of central mechanic that we've already showcased is the tidefalls. And we wanted to make sure that we could combine that gameplay with kind of a consistent and captivating story. And that world it's an ocean world. The factions start on islands. And as the seas descend, they can go out in exploring into that world. And it's important to know that there's a big reason why Cider is an ocean world and why it's changing to an ocean world. And that's wrapped up with the Endless.
They have their
I
hands
should
in
also
everything.
say-
Yeah, they made a mess everywhere, those guys. You know, really.
For those who don't know, the Endless Universe, just to give a quick recap on that, the Endless is a precursor civilization who existed tens of thousands of years ago in the galaxy. They spread across the galaxy. They had a cataclysmic war, disappeared, but left behind their remnants. So they are always the backdrop to our games. And on Cider as well, they've had their hand there.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So the cause of the situation, both the flooded ocean planet and the tidefalls, the recesses, that's all part of a situation set up by the Endless that the player will discover as they explore, as they discover, as the game rolls out, as they meet new other factions and have events and that sort of thing. So there's a whole story unfolding behind the classic game 4X gameplay.
And as we said earlier, not every faction will figure out what that is in the same way. They each have their own path.
They have their own path through it. They have decisions to make on how they handle the different situations, how they come to. I mean, you heard the background voice in the trailer. There is a vast power at the heart of the planet, and one of the players' choices as they get to the end game is how to deal with that and why and that sort of thing. So it's been super fun to work with the artists and the designers, programmers, and everybody to try to put that kind of narrative end game into a 4X end game. It's been an amazing project, and we got to announce it tonight. And so now we're like, oh yeah, it's a good feeling.
So while I've got you in this good feeling, I tried to pry some information earlier, but couldn't. Can you tell us anything about the factions without giving us too much info? We'll wait. We'll bide our time, because we know some of the factions from this universe.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of marketing people standing there with tasers.
Yes.
All right. So,
Moving on.
We are not going to drop names here. So there will be some familiar and some new and unfamiliar factions. Steve has been the lead writer on the game. I'm kind of the overseer, but he's done all the work. So Steve, if you want to say a little bit more about the factions.
Yeah, so I think if you cast your eye over that announcement trailer, you'll see some clues about kind of who's made it from Endless Legend into Endless Legend 2. That's not saying that the other ones have definitively gone or not gone, you know. We have natives of the planet, we have outsiders as well. And it's not just the factions there too. Cider is a very interesting planet to a lot of parties beyond the factions as well. And it's a traditional fantasy game, but with our kind of characterful science fiction backdrop. And as you play the game more, you'll come across those other parties and you'll see some familiar faces.
Okay, well, I'm very curious to see how...
Nice teaser.
Yeah. These factions are going to react to things so differently. I'm curious to see that. And one thing that I've always found fascinating is the fact that all of these games have such a different setting. One's in space, one's a fantasy on a planet, but it's the same setting. And can you tell us a little bit about how you juggle fantasy and also high tech in the same universe? You have 4 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can't. No, I think from the beginning, back when we first did Endless Space 1, it was primarily Romain and I were trying to figure out what we wanted to do with the setting. And he was very clear. He said, I want to have a universe that exists that we can make any kind of game in, any kind of game genre, any kind of dramatic genre. And so we worked on something, and I always had this feel that you wanted a universe that had this kind of Indiana Jones / Tomb Raider history behind it, of like deep, dark, dangerous places.
Artifacts, temples.
Artifacts, temples, exactly. If I push this button, what happens? Either I die the richest man in the universe in 3 seconds, or maybe nothing, or. So we wanted this sense of foreboding and danger and mystery in the past. And that's how we came up with the Endless and this whole lost civilization of these, of almost superhumans, highly advanced scientific race, approaching magic. But we didn't want it to be purely science fictional. We wanted to have that fantastic fantasy magical part as well. And that's where this element dust, which is sort of the magical substance in our universe, comes in. So we can pitch games as intergalactic, strategic space games, or it can be on a planet where there's just a lot of weird stuff and dust and kind of magical things happen. But if the peoples aren't that advanced, well, then it's not really sci-fi. It's just kind of, so we get to play with that setting a lot. It's really fun. And particularly in this game where you have bits of both the sci-fi and the fantasy coming together. I think it's quite interesting. It's been a lot of fun to work on. Yeah,
and that's interesting to think that, you know, if we showed a cell phone, a smartphone to someone from 1,000 years ago, it would be magic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From 20 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Definitely. Yeah.
So yeah,
exactly it.
It's basically just taking the same universe and giving it a different scope.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Steve, can you tell us how, you know, the storytelling is evolving from one game to the next and how it's told in this game?
Yeah, so if we look back at Endless Legend, we had traditional kind of linear faction quests. It was 8 different faction quests for the 8 starting factions, and you would work through that. They had a more kind of novelistic storytelling feel to it. With Humankind, we went into events, and now with Endless Legend 2, we want to blend kind of both those things. So we're evolving the types of faction quests you have. There'll be more characterful based, there'll be branching, there'll be different endings. So not only have you got replayability across factions, you've got replayability within the faction quest itself. And then you've got lots of sort of incidental stuff that is trying to cater to the player's actual game. So you'll meet different minor factions, you'll meet different characters in the world, and that should give your story a more curated thing for each experience.
Okay, so you've got all these different tools between, you know, the factions' quests. I think there was something called curiosities.
Yep.
You've got the minor factions that you might interact with differently.
Right.
And some surprises along the way.
Yeah, once we get into some things with the heroes, and there's a lot of, the thing about a 4X game is because the world is randomly generated every time, it's not, you can't say, you know, get Bob to Smallville, because maybe Smallville wasn't generated, and maybe neither was Bob. I mean, it's very hard to structure a classic narrative around something that's as amorphous as a 4X game. So the way we do it, you know, we're learning more with each game, and we're still learning what that ideal structure is between classical narrative game with the narrative shape and all the possibilities and the richness of a 4X setting. So.
Yeah,
fun job.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Kind of reminds me, last time we spoke together, I think I brought up the parallel with Dungeons & Dragons. I'm a big tabletop role player.
Right.
And as a dungeon master, my job is often to give my players information in however way they're going to find it. The real solution isn't what I had imagined, but you know, I just have these pieces of information and I'll dole them out depending on what they do.
Right, and they put the puzzle together and they create their narrative, and you're just there to sort of
give them the pieces.
Give them ideas and pieces. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, very cool. Well, these, you know, there are so many different ways of telling a story: movies, books, video games, music, and so Amplitude obviously is known for video games, but we have a new endeavor.
Yes,
something new.
We do, and this is. Well, this is very exciting. I wanted to sort of just casually and elegantly lean over and pick the book off the shelf, but it's like 1.5 meters away. So I have to do this like this. Actually, there's 2 things here that I would love to take just both, a minute to talk about. One of them is, for those of you who played and loved Endless Legend, or didn't play and still loved Endless Legend, we had a PDF art book, but we've redone it completely. And we've added factions that weren't in there previously. So this is the complete Endless Legend art book from Endless Legend 1. So fans of you who are out there, who are fans of our art, our games, and or both, I think it's a gorgeous thing. Steve and I have put in a lot of time writing additional content and explanations. I hate to feel like I'm like shilling product, but this is very cool. The other thing, and Steve, I think you should probably talk about this. I take some credit. Steve has actually written a novel set in the Endless universe. It's more in the Endless Space 2 setting than in the Endless Legends setting. So it's more the sci-fi side than the high fantasy side. But it's been a great endeavor. It's been, I think, well received. It's a lot of fun. So Steve, do you want to maybe talk about that a little bit?
Of course. I never know if I'm on screen or not because
We can hear
I
you
don't see
regardless.
myself. But,
Steve, there you go.
okay, I have a copy of the book too here. I haven't seen the Endless Legend art book in the flesh myself, but it looks great. I want to come over to the studio soon and see it. Yeah, the book has been out a few months now. The reception's been great. It's going well with Endless fans, with people who are science fiction fans, with people I've made read the book, like my friends who've said, actually, I've really enjoyed this book. So the reception has been amazing. Just to give a little bit of a pitch for the book, it's about a young caver who's from the Pilgrim faction. The Pilgrims are a faction who are escaping the United Empire. They've been at war, basically, with the United Empire. Or not exactly war, they're fleeing from them.
Rebels, yeah.
And in the book, Sewa, the main character, she's on the verge of adulthood. She's about to be given her duty, which is what pilgrims will do through their adult life. Because they're on a war footing, they're very set up for escaping the United Empire. She wants to be a caver, but events take another turn. She gets involved with a traitorous plot on the Pilgrim fleet, which results in her being separated from the fleet and goes on adventures, basically.
There's some very nice shots from the art book.
Yeah, look at that.
Thank you, whoever in backstage there behind the curtain is doing this. Thank you.
And so you rewrote some of the Pilgrims' lore.
Yeah,
and
the
background.
Pilgrim. Steve did a lot of work. We have little lore Bibles for all of our factions from all of our games. Steve did a huge, now that lore Bible is significantly larger. So really, it's when you tell stories from the point of view of a spaceship and a planet, it's very different from actually telling the story from somebody walking around on the planet.
Much more personal.
It's very personal. It's very intimate. It's, you can say, okay, the Pilgrims, they live on these sort of arcology fleets that fly, escaping the Endless Empire. But, United Empire. But what's it like to walk around day to day and, buy tea at the local market? Mm-hmm. You don't do that in the video game, right? But Steve has gone through and created that whole street-level view of the Endless universe, really for the first time in any of our games. So for us, it's very exciting. So that's why we wanted to come out and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, well, it came out in October. I'm glad the reception has been so good. And so since a book is so new for Amplitude, how did the idea come about?
I can field that.
Yeah, you better feel. I'm like, huh? Yeah.
So, it's the first novel we've done, but it's not the first thing we've done in alternative kind of forms of media. We've done comic books before. We've done visual novel game, in fact. Jeff's written some short stories, novellas. So, for us as writers, this is an amazing opportunity to, like you say, go down to that street level and explore some of these factions, these institutions that exist in our games that you generally see from a much higher scale, especially in the Space 2 games where you're a galactic kind of leader and you're dealing with planet-wide sort of things. So I think Amplitude has supported us in that, and they're really interested in seeing how we can sort of spread our media to other forms. And I think the community takes well to that too, because I think one of the strongest parts of our games is the background lore that Jeff has developed and we've all developed together.
I love transmedia projects. It's always cool to explore, because you can't tell, as you were saying, the same stories in everything. So if you want to tell another story about the same universe, you have to pivot into something else. So do you know if there's any other transmedia projects planned?
We're full of ideas. We're full of ideas that, you know, yeah, there certainly are. I can't even say what they are because we have a lot and we don't know what we're doing. We're full of ideas and we're finding partners and pitching things around. And but yeah, I mean, we love the games, and the games remains what we most like to do and what I think for the moment we do the best. Though the novel is great. But yeah, we're looking into other things. We want to tell other stories at other levels and other genres and that sort of thing. So we're certainly looking to take the universe to other places.
All right. And Steve, we didn't touch upon when is this book taking place compared to the books, and how does it interact with Endless Legend games, previous or to come?
So it takes place about 50, 60 years after the Pilgrims left or escaped Raya. That's the homeworld of the United Empire. So they've been on the run for a while, but things are getting extra hairy at this moment in time for this particular fleet. The Pilgrims are split into multiple fleets, or in different sort of places. And part of the Pilgrim background is their obsession with the endless, their religion around the endless. They want to go out and find, hopefully, the endless homeworld. And it's causing kind of political shenanigans within the internal structure of the Pilgrims themselves. And Sewa, the main character, is kind of caught up in that, and she goes and meets various people. I don't want to spoil it too much, but...
Yeah. Things happen. Yeah, right.
Oh, things happen in the book?
They do. They're
Wow.
fun things too.
And so, yeah.
Can I just say...
Go for it.
Sorry, also just to say, the audiobook version, we don't have a date for it yet, but it'll be coming out soon, hopefully. And Forbidden Planet, I'm not sure they can ship to the United States, I'm not sure, but they are getting a new batch of signed copies of the book because they sold out the first batch. So that's very pleasing. Going to be signing more copies soon, and they'll be available. Just to do my own shilling too, Jeff.
Good. We share the guilt. That's fine.
Duly noted. I'm an audiobook guy, so that might be my ticket. Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for sharing all of this with us, whether it be the game, the book, just the universe in general. I think it's a universe that's fascinating, and I always love when it's developed through these different ways. And I think I was going to say it's still in its infancy, maybe not infancy,
yeah.
But it develops, and over time it becomes really this. As you told me once that people from the community probably know the lore better than you by now.
We have fans out there who keep me in line, but that's great. I mean, the community is fantastic. We love working with them. We love hearing their ideas. We love how they receive our ideas, and we love coming up with ideas. It's been a fantastic relationship. It's been so much fun to do. I feel so privileged that I get to spend my time doing this, inventing these things with Steve and the rest of the team. And it's great to come out here and talk about them. I haven't been able to talk to the community for a while. It's great to talk to you guys. We love you. Hope to see you again soon. And I'm sure Steve feels the same way. Thank you.
All right. Well, Jeff, Steve, thank you so much for joining me.
They didn't give me an Endless Legend T-shirt, but I have a beer together one.
Yeah.
Not
That's
bad.
good. That's a good second choice.
All right. Well, we are going to transition away for the moment from our big announcement of today, the big Endless Legend 2 announcement.
And welcome back. And I'm not alone. You've been here the whole time, haven't you?
Yes, maybe.
We're community developers. We're always there,
Lurking
watching.
in the shadows.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for joining me. Kat and Sergio, can you tell us what you do at Amplitude?
Well, as I just mentioned, we're community managers, community developers, whatever you want to call it, basically the same job. So, we take a look at what you're saying and take that to the devs, and we take what the devs are telling us and take that back to you. We're the interface, if you will. That usually involves a lot of reading on Steam and G2G and Reddit and whatever, and then trying to compress all of that down into something our designers can read in like an hour or two instead of spending a week on it like we do, because they still need the time to actually design the game at some point. And then we handle a lot of the comms. For example, we write the blog posts for like the beta versions to explain what's in the game, or for the actual announcements and release, we often write the blogs, and we will also be sharing a lot about Endless Legend 2 in the coming weeks in the form of various blogs. So, sign up to G2G, follow the universe so you get the news, or wishlist it on Steam.
That's right. That's something I forgot to say. Yeah, the Steam page is up, so you can wishlist it right now. And yes, we have a blog post coming soon to give more insight, because so far we've been a little bit cryptic, not giving too many. I tried to get the names of the factions yesterday. They won't give me anything.
Yeah, a lot of people try that, to be honest. That's why we try to say, okay, let's think what we can talk about the game in the future weeks, because, well, we would like to disclose a lot of information to you, but
well, we've already seen a lot of speculation about which factions are in the game, but I'm not gonna comment on whether or not they were correct.
Yeah, it's a tricky one for us.
Of course, yeah. Well, every time I swing by your desks, you're always reading, some kind of Steam or Discord.
Oh yeah.
So
our players have a lot of feedback to share even before the game is out, because they, of course, they love Endless Legend 1. They love many of our other games, so they're like, oh, will this be maintained? Oh, hey, will you improve this? How will this evolve? Compare between, if you compare Endless Legend 1 and Humankind, there were certain aspects that were very different between them. Like, there were differences in the city building, there were differences in the combat, stuff like that. So they're wondering which direction are we going to go. And we're going to tell you eventually. Soon, TM.
Yeah. And Quizz in chat is asking if the planet from Endless Legend 2 will be added into Endless Space 2. The only thing I would say is
I will neither confirm nor deny any rumors.
I would just say that you need to play games this weekend. If the community as a whole plays games, then who knows? Sky's the limit.
We try to be reactive if there's enough demand.
Maybe.
Yep. First gift that we have for you today is going to be Workers and Resources Soviet Republic, plus 2 DLCs, which is going to be given out during this segment. So keep an eye on chat, and you might be rewarded. So what are we going to talk about today?
Well, to start the day, I figured that we could start with highlighting some of the really cool projects our community has done over the years. For a bit of context, I guess, for newer viewers who don't quite know me yet, I've been a fan of the AMPLITUDE games since Endless Space 1. And, as Omar highlighted yesterday, that was early access in the ancient times before Steam had an official early access label. And I followed that game, I left some comments, and over the years, I first became a beta tester, then a VIP, and then eventually I joined the company. And of course, in that time, I've been always in the community and have been keeping an eye on the cool projects that were happening, and that goes all the way back actually to Endless Space 1. There was a really cool mod for Endless Space 1 called Aged, a Galaxy of Endless Diversity, which added 8 new planet types, and the base game only had 12, so it's almost double the number of planet types, and a bunch of anomalies and cool stuff you could find. And then when Endless Legend released with that really cool science fantasy world, of course, immediately there were so many shots oh wow, we need an RPG in this world. And then some players went, oh, you bet. And that's one of the first things I would like to talk about. Our producer here for the stream has some screenshots we can share, but there were 2 projects in particular that stood out for the amount of effort and quality that went into them. That was first Auriga for Fantasy Age, and the other was Auriga for D&D 5th edition. The first one we see here. That one, this one actually is the D&D one. This one is much more focused on presenting the world, the D&D one.
It's giving you a setting.
And giving you a setting. And there's a hand-drawn map in there of the region that they developed, and they explain the lore of the different factions, and then try to tie the different D&D mechanics into the factions to make it fit together coherently between our lore and the D&D gameplay. For example, they're talking about the roving clans quest, and the roving clans, they had knowledge of the wish spell, so they were amassing dust in order to wish for Auriga to not have this problem with the ever-growing winter. and then they messed that up, and then they didn't want to admit that they messed it up, and so there's this whole like conspiracy that the player can get involved in, and who do you side with? The people who want to admit it, the people who want to fix it in secret, and there's like a whole massive conflict that lays out, and then it also takes a lot of the items in game and gives them actual stats for in D&D, especially the quest items, because they're of course relevant to the quest, and so that gives you a really rich campaign setting to play in.
It gives you ideas for storylines.
Yeah, it even actually features half a dozen, roughly. I haven't counted exactly. Side quests that are already laid out with like, oh, here's like the plot line. Here's like the important NPCs. Like this is an example where it lays out the important NPCs, and of course it's borrowed a lot of the art from our games to make the book look really good. So did the other one, but the Fantasy Age one. That one was much more focused on actual rules expansion. So they have like stats and rules for the different factions to play them as a species, and they have new skills. For example, they introduce flying as a skill because that's not a default in that rule set. But of course, necrophages can fly, Ala'i can fly, and there's a bunch of factions in EL that can fly.
There is flying in D&D, but it's very limited. It's like walking in the air.
But no, that one is it's a different rules system.
Sure.
It's, I think originally it came out for related to Dragon Age. That's why the name, and that then expanded that for like Fantasy Age. But or they have like personal cavalry as a skill, which is like specifically referring to like the Dawn Officers of the Vultures with their power armor, allowing them to run really fast.
So it's cool. It's two different approaches.
It's two different
one
approaches,
that adds
exactly.
gameplay or mechanics, and one that adds the setting, and both together. Wow.
And I mean, of course, both have a little bit of the other always, but there's like a different focus. And even just from looking at the screenshots, you can see just how much effort they put even into like the layouting of the pages. Like the D&D one here, that really looks like with the paper texture and everything they put in there. I've definitely seen like, well, semi-official like supplements for D&D released that look like that, like not first party, but people using the license. And the Fantasy Age one is also very well laid out and looks really good. And you can, I don't know if chat can, if the viewers can make out the page numbers at the bottom here, but like these books are between 50 and 120 pages or so long. They're really big.
Talking about that, actually, there was some question in the chat asking where they can get those books. I think they should be available, if not mistaken.
There are threads about them on G2G.
Yeah.
Once I get out of the segment, I can post the links in the chat. In theory, they are in a document that Etienne has access to, but I'm not sure if he can dig them out real quick.
Yeah, just stick with us for another 15 minutes, and you'll post it in chat.
Drop links.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
And I should, if I have some time after I get out of here, I'll maybe make a thread in G2G highlighting, oh, here's like the community projects we highlighted.
Cool.
We can do that.
Yeah, and then of course there's was a lot of modding as well with our games, and the ones I want to highlight most is for Humankind as our most recent 4X game, and there are 3 mods there that really stand out. And the first one to mention perhaps is the Culture Super Pack, because that one just adds an insane amount of content. It's 63 cultures.
63.
With
so
their
it's like,
own art as well.
yes, it's more cultures than we have in the base game.
Huge.
And like there's a lot of cultures here that also have like really interesting effects that really push what you can do with the modding tools. Like there's the Helveti, I think they were Celtic tribe, from near the Alps, and like they have a gameplay that revolves all around plundering and having few small cities as a more nomadic kind of playstyle. So it's really pushing what you can do.
It's not just the artwork; it's actual.
It's not just the artwork, but the artwork in particular, I want to shout out because
it's crazy.
I was going to say, it looks like it's vanilla.
Yeah, they have done a really great job at getting artists to emulate the style of our culture cards. So it really fits in seamlessly with the existing cultures. And the organizer of this mod was Uncle Two Fire, but that wasn't a one-person project. They had the artists and I believe they actually hired them and paid them because this is quality work. But even like the culture design and the culture implementation, there were multiple contributors to make something like this work, because there's just so much content in this. So if you've played a lot of Humankind and you're starting to feel like, oh, I already kind of know everything, well, at the Culture Super Pack, there is as much content again to discover with all of these cultures.
And the only thing that they couldn't do the modding is the actual art, how is displayed, like the units. I think that's the only thing that they have some limitation on the moddings. But apart from that, the units are pretty different. It's just like the visuals in game, I think, is pre-established.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
the 3D models in game are not moddable, so they couldn't adapt those. They had to borrow from like other cultures. But as you can see here, the 2D art is amazing, and it's an amazing effort. And I wouldn't be surprised if they keep adding even more cultures, because right now the last 2 eras have slightly fewer cultures in the mod than the first 4.
I think it's 5. The latest, the contemporary.
The contemporary, I think, has 5 cultures. Yes.
And tell me about the VIP pack as well.
So that was the next one I was going to talk about. Exactly, the VIP pack by Bruno or Dr. Kane, depending on which platform you find one. I would call it an overhaul mod, but the important thing about this overhaul mod, the VIP stands for Vanilla Improvement Project. So he tries to maintain the vision and the overall feel of the base game, while trying to address a lot of the the feedback, but also like there's sometimes topics where we get different conflicting feedbacks where we can't exactly like do one thing because it would displease the other group, and as a modder he has much more freedom there. And like he did a lot of stuff with like the civics and the stability. For example, he implemented a whole system. I think he used the event system for that, where if you go bankrupt and are like really in debt, it triggers an event that like zeroes out your debt because you go bankrupt, but you get like other penalties for a while so that you can recover, so that you have catch up mechanics. And he had worked a lot on the civics, of course. He keeps reworking a lot of it as we release our own updates. Like the last update in Hedwana was very focused on the civics, so of course he had to readapt them. But it touches pretty much everything in the game, and it makes for a very different experience. And I'm pretty sure there's actually a compatibility patch for the Super Pack and the VIP mod, so you can actually use them at the same time.
Yeah, I think he has uploaded like 7 or 8 compatibility patch with other mods, and he even tell to the players, and I think it was on Steam Workshop, and I'm not sure, I think also on Mod.io, he even mentioned like if there is people wanted some compatibility with other mods, feel free to ask him, because they're like, hey, we just saw this fantastic mod, we would like to use it with your mod as well. So can you make a compatibility patch? And I think he would be eager to make those patches.
Oh,
so
that's very cool.
Bruno is absolutely amazing, and special shout out to him actually, because one of the things he touched in the VIP mod was the growth formula for population. And that is actually something that he gave us the rights to use in the Hedwana update, the formula and the way he had implemented it, so that our growth would follow like a similar curve, and we would no longer have this eternal cycle of gain a population and then they starve because they eat more food, and now it's stable. You reach a point where you're no longer being spammed with those notifications, thanks to Bruno's formula.
Very cool. Wow. And I think there's also the Stars Shine.
The Stars Shine New, yes, that one
Shine
by
New, yes.
the name is Joseon on G2G. I'm sadly not able to tell you what their Steam username is because I can't read Chinese. But it's a similar overhaul that touches all aspects of the game. But unlike Bruno, they didn't set out with the idea of, I want to preserve the vanilla game experience. They had their own vision for what they would like the game to feel like, and they addressed that. And for example, they touched a lot of the ideology effects and the doctrine access effects in Together We Rule. So that for a lot of the ideologies, now you have like much more pronounced effects than we do have in the base game, because in the base game, they're like, 5%, 10% more money or more industry, and it's fairly plain, so that it's it doesn't break anything with
Mhm.
anything else. But
Yeah.
they really went in and did a lot of work on that and the civics. And I looked at the patch log for the combat changes in the modern era as well. They had a whole philosophy of like, okay, the infantry is there to hold the line, and then you have the APCs to punch a hole in the line, and the anti-tank guns can outrange the tanks, so that they're still useful, and they actually post their design vision, their idea of why they make these changes in their patch log, so we can follow the reasoning.
Right.
And
That's crazy.
so yeah, they did a complete overhaul, and they call it the only overhaul mod, and I think in many ways they are justified because the changes are just so extensive. And I sadly haven't had the time to actually try it myself yet, so I cannot tell you exactly how the changes
That's okay. You'll get a
lead to a
chance
different
this
feeling.
weekend when you add to
this
the
week you can test everything.
Yes, because
counter.
I can see how extensive the changes are, and I can see what each in isolation, would feel like.
Yeah.
But
feeling
there's just so many of them that it's there's this emergent property,
Sure.
like the emergent narrative in our games, so to speak, and that's very hard to judge without actually putting in a lot of time. Like even if I played one game, I probably wouldn't be able to
Yeah.
fully describe this mod yet because it's just so extensive.
And even though they didn't make it into our top, I think we have a few honorable mentions.
Yes.
A few other additions,
Yes.
such as a few maps for humankind.
Yes, shout out especially here to Oscar and J Demon, who made 2 Earth maps for humankind that are very popular.
Yeah.
And they've been in broad use before we added the official Earth map, and they probably still are because our official Earth map, for honest, is a little weird with that warped perspective with Antarctica in the middle.
Yeah.
And they're really great maps, and they're absolutely massive, and they must have spent so many hours preparing those. And G Demon actually won the map making contest with his back then. And
what about Endless Space 2?
yes, on Endless Space 2 there are a few mods. Shout out to the ESG mod, which a lot of people use in multiplayer for rebalancing. And there is also a really nice mod called Endless Moons, which again adds a lot of gameplay around new content to the game, in this case around moons. So you, instead of just having, oh, this planet has 1 moon, this planet has 2 moons as anomalies, you have like, oh, this is an icy moon, this is a volcanic moon, and they have different benefits that you can then amplify by exploring them. And as you explore them, you might even find mysterious temples of the endless. Or you can discover, oh, this moon isn't actually rock at all. This is a giant machine that the Endless builds. It's a celestial orb, as the mod calls it. So there's like a lot of Endless references built into the mod as well. It's because the Endless touched everything in the Endless galaxy. And
the last one is the reawakening update.
Yes,
As
exactly. The last shout out goes out to Captain Combs and Syrob.
Yeah.
And oh god. Do you remember the 2 people they hired?
It was something about
Frost Gremlin and Chaos Will Rise, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah,
I don't recall exactly the name now.
we had worked with Captain Cobbs and Syrob on the Reawakening patch to let them work on the design and the implementation, because we only have so much bandwidth in-house to work on our back catalog, but we knew that the Reawakening DLC was not well liked by a lot of players because of balancing problems and because the faction didn't feel interesting enough to them, or didn't feel quite right, because they didn't have this sense of being an ancient empire that reawakened and reclaims their world, and also that the diplomacy with the Xander was not as fleshed out as it could be. And Combs and Sarah have done an amazing job working on that, and they also fixed a bunch of other errors and bugs on the side as they were working on that. And it's really good work, and all the feedback, well, almost all the feedback, because there's always some people who are not happy with the changes, but almost all the feedback was very positive, and like, wow, now, because before people had been saying like, oh no, turn this DLC off, it actually makes the game worse. And now they're like, oh no, now this is actually quite good DLC. Like there's like interesting options with to to interact with the academy because they added a whole system of diplomacy with it. And the Nakalim now feel much more like this ancient reawakened empire because you can find ruins and awaken them, and there's already a bunch of population and infrastructure in there that you immediately get. And so it's really great work, and we're very grateful to them for working with us, because without their help, as I say, we have limited bandwidth. There's only so many devs we can fit into this office until the fire brigade says, hey, this is a fire risk. And so,
well, it's always been a part of Amplitude's DNA to have
to work with
give
players.
Ownership to the community. We talked a lot about it yesterday. We'll do some more of that later on with co-creation. But it's not surprising that we welcome.
It was the natural step for the entire studio. We were coordinating with the live ops and say like, okay, can we work on the back catalog? Okay, yes, okay. Can we maybe get involved with the community? Yeah, let's go for it. And then we just get in contact with cops, start up, see if they have the time, and
absolutely
we just go for it.
It's of course not an easy process because they had to make sure that they were set up to work as contractors, and then we had to figure out like IP stuff and contract stuff and whatever. So there's even with something like this where we only hire 2 people, there's like so much paperwork, which when you're looking from the outside into the industry as a gamer, you never realize how much administration goes into making one of these games. There's so much paperwork.
It's not just developers.
Exactly.
It's all the support around.
Exactly. And we have great designers, great programmers, great developers, but in the end, we also need to thank all of the support teams, the live ops team, the admin team, the producers, to make sure that everything runs smoothly, because without them, you can't run a company this size.
And one more thing that we forget on Humankind before we just get over this segment, in order to access the mods that we mentioned on Humankind, they can directly access in games, to go to the tab on mods, and they just subscribe to different modding. So it's super easy. It's 10 seconds to do, and they can try out the mods directly in game.
Very seamless.
Yes, and you can log in to download with your Steam account, so you don't need the Mod.io account anymore. That option still exists, because the game's available on platforms other than Steam. But if you already have your Steam account, you can just use that.
All right. Well, thank you so much to both of you for enlightening us, giving us all this information, and highlighting what the community has done. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, and also a huge thank you for the entire community. After all the support, after yesterday the reveal of EL2, we are with a lot of comments together out. Like we're gonna finish now. We're gonna go to keep reading things. So thank you for all the support, and it was amazing.
So many wonderful messages from all of you yesterday in chat, now on our different platforms. Looking at it, everybody is so excited for Endless Legend 2, and do you have any idea how hard it is to not say anything when you've known about this for, I don't even remember how long.
4 years of development, I think, so far.
Something like that, yes.
So, all right, well, we'll let you get back to it. Thank you so much for stopping by. And speaking of Endless Legend 2, I think we're all excited for it. So why don't we watch the trailer again, for those of you who missed it. And after that, we'll delve into more Endless Legend 2 content. And we're going to start off with a blind test with Arnaud, co-composer of the music, and he's been around for all of the Amplitude games. So yeah, let's check out Endless Legend 2.
I am many things. I have been many things. God. Legend.
Dust.
Part.
Prisoner.
Of this blue Eden. But the jailers have fled, leaving the oceans and their secrets to those who walk the land.
Destroyers!
Then came the light supposed to end this torment. everyone would have seen a threat in the cataclysmic tidefalls, those cunning explorers saw an opportunity to expand their empire.
Light. Corruption.
Led by their desire to quench their thirst for power, they'll eventually get to me.
To free me. To murder me.
They are strong, yes. But are they strong enough to face my
Madness.
endless power?
And we're back. Arnaud, thank you for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've done so far for Amplitude.
So yes, my name is Arnaud. I'm working as a composer for Amplitude Studio since the very beginning of the studio. I think it's 2012. And before that, I was working as a sound designer for cartoon movies. And so, yeah, I'm a harp player. And yeah, I love video games since I was a child. I started to play with the Super Nintendo, and since then,
cool.
I continue to play.
Yeah, well, I know very well that you're a harp player because I got a personal concert yesterday.
Yeah, you're very lucky.
It was great.
Yeah.
You should have, I mean, definitely check out the VOD. Arnaud and Jean-Noël were there playing on one side of the stage, and I was on the other side all by myself in my chair, just enjoying the music. It was great. So check it out. It was 15 minutes of kind of a reduced version of the main theme for Endless Legend 2, as well as two other themes that obviously in the game are orchestral,
Yes.
but we had, you know, just two instruments. We're getting music. All right, well, we're getting teased. That's fine. That's what we're going to do today is listen to music. So you've prepared some snippets of music from what you've done with Amplitude.
Yeah.
And so we have to guess where it comes from, and then you'll tell us a little bit about the process.
Yeah.
Okay, well. Oh, okay, so we had one music jump scare. We're not quite ready for the next one. That's okay. So let us know as soon as you're ready. So it's going to be fairly quick, just 30 seconds of music, and then we'll delve into it. Are we set yet? No, not quite. All right, well, tell us, why did you choose the handpan and the harp in terms of sounds?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that yesterday. Endless Legend 2 is... I think this is ready.
Oh,
okay.
We'll get back to that. So, someone guessed Endless Space 1.
Yes.
Is that correct?
This is true. Yes.
All right.
Yes, this track has a very strongest. It's a strong story for me because it was the first track I produced for Amplitude Studio.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and at that time I wasn't working at all for the music. I was hired by Romain and Mathieu at that time for being a sound designer, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So for Endless Space 1, I work on sound design stuff with Benjamin. And one day I asked Romain, hey, do you have some composer? Because I can try something. Mm-hmm. I was in my flat in Paris and with some synthesizer, and I have no idea of what's going on and what the music, the success the music will be. So I just play around and give them that particular track, and they said, "Oh, this is good. Okay, so let's continue together."
Cool.
And so yes, it was the first composition for the studio. Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, let's move on to music piece number 2. In chat saying that it's hilarious that you started composing by accident. I think everyone's got that one. That one's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's so different.
Yeah, very different.
So obviously, Endless Dungeon, right?
Yes. It's a collaboration with Lyra Lynn. It's quite a famous singer in the United States. She's from Nashville, and at that time when we talk about the saloon in the Endless Dungeon, there was that idea to have a rock band on stage, and so I remember that artist because I saw him. I saw her in a television show, and I like very much her voice. So I pick up my phone and call her, and she said, "Oh yes, let's do it." So she make those amazing tracks. We work together. She composed all the music, and I add some kinds of synthesizer stuffs on that, and so this particular one is called Endless. Yeah, so it's really in the it's a theme of the game. So yeah.
All right.
Great track.
Yeah, very nice. All right, let's move on to track number 3. I'm going to trust chat on this one. Everyone seems to agree.
Yes.
Endless Space 2 across the board.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is easy, but there is something you maybe don't know about this. This is it's a kind of remix, in fact. Those choir are from another game, from Amplitude, and it's quite difficult to guess what game is it, what particular track is it. So the next segment of music will be the answer.
The original one.
Yeah, you know that choir melody is from another game.
Okay, well let's listen to that. I'm curious now.
Yeah.
That definitely has Endless Legend vibes.
Yes. So this one is a Forgotten theme. Sorry, and when I started to work on Endless Space 2, there was some. I think it was a DLC from Endless Legend, The Forgotten, and I use a small sample of the choir recording of the Forgotten Team, and I did the slaughtering effect,
Mhm.
the like
Yep.
this, and yeah, so it's a remix of the Forgotten Team.
All right. Well, it's from the same universe. It makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next one. Definitely humankind for this one.
Yeah.
But I can't tell if it's attached to a culture in particular or if it's just a kind
Yeah,
of.
it's a global track for all the culture, orchestral theme for all the culture, and for humankind, the setup, the musical setup was quite different because there is no synthesizer at all, only real instruments, only real orchestra and real singers.
I was going to say a lot more voice than in the other.
Yes. And also voices with text, yes, with words. So for this particular game, I worked with a writer who knows very well mythology and ancient Greek and Latin. So she picked some extract from ancient writings. And we use that kind of heroic stories to put it in words for the choir.
Okay.
So this one was sung in Latin. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
All right, we've got time for a few more. Let's listen to one more here. Boy, chat is on fire. I would have. I've never played Dungeon of the Endless, so I went full Endless Dungeon.
Yeah.
But it is Dungeon of the Endless.
Yeah, it's Dungeon of the Endless. Yeah, it's the exact opposite of humankind. Yeah, it's fully made with all synthesizer. I mean, maybe one or two synthesizer for the whole soundtrack. So it's very focused on a particular sound of all the synthesizers. And yeah, for that one is like some drips of water, like a rhythm, but using very synthetic sounds. And we have for Endless Dungeon, we have worked on a remix also for that track. So the next one we can listen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, chat called that one.
Yeah.
So it's got to be absolutely fascinating to move from all these different settings for games, because as you said, there's, in Humankind, it's very instrument and voice based, and then all of a sudden you've got synthesizers. It's got to be so cool to just change your tools every time.
Yeah. It's been lots of part of the creative process, because yeah, when you have, it's like a painter, you know, the more color you have, the more you can do a different kind of painting. So with music, it's the same. The more you can play and knowing of different instruments, the more you can compose different styles. And for this remix, for Endless Dungeon, we want to keep the synthesizer stuff from Doty, but also to add that rock band stuff. Yes, you know, like playing around and gigging in the saloon. So for this remix, I worked with a guitar player, Thomas Autogali, and he made all the arrangement and the guitar parts of the game. And we had the drums, and we have it's exactly the same track, but the mood is very different because you have this. Yeah, it's more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're expecting insects or something to come at you any second.
Yeah, it's more groovy. In fact, it's more like yeah, come on and have some cocktail. Yeah, different.
All right, and let's listen to one more.
Okay.
I'm trying to meta game it, but we've had every single game, so there isn't even one missing. I don't know.
No, this one is it sounds like the one we played yesterday. So it's not for Endless Legend 2, but it's kind of because it's Celtic harps. I played with Celtic harp, but this one is from Humankind. It's like for the Celtic culture, and this one is called Valentine's Song. It's a kind of Easter egg because Valentine is my daughter, so I make a sort of it's like a short
like an ode.
Yeah,
an ode to her, or,
So it's cute.
Yeah, it is absolutely. Yeah, very nice. Should we listen to one more or? All right, we've got time. Yeah, let's listen to one more. Endless Legend?
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of a very exotic instrument. This one I played with Jean-Noël, and it's a kind of harp, but it's not a Celtic harp. It's a kora. The track is called a kora tale. And the kora is it's a harp from Mali, from Western Africa, and it has a very particular sound. And on this one, Jean-Noël is playing. I don't know in English. It's called the oudou. It's like a jar, and with holes and a do.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, it's not like tablas, like Indian tablas, but the sound is quite the same. And with this one, we have a kind of aquatic sound also. So yeah, for Endless Legend 2, we have we continue this kind of tracks. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. All right, I think they're almost ready backstage. If Etienne, if you wouldn't mind switching back to the main shot. Well, thank you so much for being with us for this, for getting us in the mood for Endless Legend 2.
Thank you, Ben.
I can't wait. You know, we've heard part of the main theme now. Yesterday was a certain arrangement of it, and also is that what we could hear in the background of the trailer, or was that?
Yes.
So we have a little bit of the main theme, and we will shortly have more. Endless Legend 2 will be coming out in early access in the coming months, and we'll have a lot more information for you then. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to immersing myself in new music during the gameplay. So thank you so much. And speaking of gameplay, we are going to be joined with two developers to delve back into Endless Legend number 1 to get us back in there. Thank you so much, Arnaud. And joining me, I'm going to have Chiara and Nitya, who are going to be playing and commenting the game. Hi.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, my pleasure. So, can you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do.
My name is Chiara. I'm a game designer on Endless Legend 2. I've been working at AMPLITUDE for more than 3 years now, and I'm really glad to be here tonight with you to be able to have a look back on Endless Legend.
Hello, my name is Nitya. I'm a narrative designer on EL2, and I've been working for AMPLITUDE for almost 4 years now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to delve back into Endless Legend because I love that game.
Yeah. Shall we let you get set up?
Yeah, okay. Sure.
All right. So Chiara's going to be at the computer working.
This way.
Or playing. And you can stay right where you are.
Right,
stay
okay.
with me on the couch,
Okay.
and we'll watch her gameplay. We'll judge her hard, and we'll. So when's the last time you played Endless Legend 1, or is your mind filled with everything from the second opus?
I open it from time to time, but it's very dangerous for me to do that because when I do that on my free time, I end up with that just one turn momentum, and it's like 4 a.m.
One more turn. Yep, we all know that.
So I open it from time to time for work just to check on things. But I think the last time I really played was maybe 1 year ago or something.
Oh,
But,
okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I still play from time to time because it's still enjoyable, even though the game is fairly old. I think it still has that charm for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last time I played it was at Amplified 24 with Jeff.
Yeah.
So I think we have probably the same background in it. Although you might maybe know the Endless Legend in general slightly better than me.
I don't know.
I hope so.
honestly.
You've got your nose in it all day long, even though it's going to be hard, I think, judging the old one with having the new one so fresh in your mind.
I think what's going to be hard is to refrain from commenting on what we've added compared to the previous opus. It's going to be hard not to slip up any details about new factions.
I was going to say, factions is my thing. I'm trying to get someone to slip up during this event and say, oh yeah, in the new one, this faction. Oh wait, no.
We'll try not to get there, but honestly, it's going to be hard, especially since it's so tempting when seeing that old game, like trying. Because obviously we know that it's in 2025 it's going to be hard not to judge that from that prism.
Sure.
Because some things are fairly old, like I don't know, UI or some features, and it's going to be so hard not to comment on it's that we've improved it by doing this or that. But yeah,
Well, we just announced the game. Soon enough, you'll be able to speak a little bit more freely about it. I mean, in a few months' time, people will be playing it, so then the information will be out in the open.
But we're still on our guard with Kya here.
Yeah,
so.
right now we need to be careful. So, Kya, tell us what you're doing right
First
now.
pop-up,
Okay.
always the Draken.
So I've launched a new game. We are playing as the Volters, and I've chosen to have a small map, 2 continents, on a regular paced game, and we are going to be playing against 5 other empires, which are random faction. The faction chosen was at random. So we're going to be discovering who we're playing against. We've already received a pop-up from the Draken, our diplomatic faction from Endless Legend. So here are all our tools for this game. So here they are. And our first step will be to choose a settling point. So where do you guys think I should be moving towards?
Yeah, can I bother you with something? Can you activate the Fitzy, please?
Yes. Here. Right? No,
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Okay. Now we
oh,
have
well,
shiny numbers.
There's a shiny tile down there
there's
with
an
all the
Yeah,
science.
there's several anomalies. You can,
Oh,
yeah, you know that
but-
feature because you took care of it. Can you go to schematic view?
Yes. So here we have a better look at our starting points.
Yeah, and you can see anomalies are those lists of flowers.
Mm-hmm.
If you unzoom, you can see them.
Well, I'd
This
say
one's-
Yeah, you can see the anomalies. It's the list of like half circle flower.
we definitely
Oh,
want to be
this
next to
one.
one
Yeah.
of those.
Okay, yeah, the point of interest. So this
So-
is an escape specimens. Gives out lots of food and dust, this tile. So
I think as a vaulter, you don't really care for science that much. I think you should focus on industry and maybe food.
Okay, then I suggest we keep looking. Here we have another anomaly.
We've got a lot of science around those woods. Lots of industry, sorry, around those woods.
Yeah, woods are correlated with industry in EL, so I think it's a good place to settle if you.
Okay, then let's look for an industry
You know,
anomaly.
you can split your army.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, I'm a bit rusty. Okay, yeah, perfect. Let's cover more ground this way.
And the thing with EL is that there is no such thing as like for instance, in humankind we have the prehistoric stage. Oh no, the Kazanji. Okay.
Okay, hostile. You have to
It's
clear
gonna be
them
a
really
short
fast.
game.
Yeah. I think you should find a place to settle soon, Chiara.
Okay, how about
Oh, hey, look at
this?
that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
That's perfect.
That's where I wanted to go, but I was out of movement points, so
And yeah, the thing with EL, there is no such thing as the prehistoric phase, like the Neolithic. And I think it's sorry, what technical
Yeah.
issue?
So you were. I asked Kia what, or Nitya, what her experience was. Kia, what's your experience with playing EL1?
So I've definitely played less on Endless Legend than Nitya. I've played a lot in the context of designing for its sequel, of course. So I really like the game, but I still have trouble grasping some of its features. So I'm glad to have you today to guide me through this adventure. I think my Let's Play will resonate a bit with people who are less experienced with the game. For instance, could you remind me, please, how to settle my city?
You have a settler somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, probably in the other.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
When I disbanded, I forgot to...
That's okay. Well, you didn't know where you were, which army was going to find the right spot.
Yeah, exactly.
And you have an army action with your settler. You can
Yeah, but I'll have to be moving a bit further with this army to... and refresh my movement points. So I guess I'll be settling only next turn.
And I think one issue with EL is that when you settle late, you get a disadvantage because those were 3 turns without science, for instance.
Oh no, is the fourth turn considered late?
It's kind of late.
No. Okay, well then I'll be settling here, and I can expand my city a bit further north.
I think this is a good spot
I think
because
so.
you have the sea nearby, so you'd have like dust from that, and you have the woods as well, so you get industry from that. So I think it's a good spot.
Okay.
And
then
if you have the Kazanjis nearby and you manage to like assimilate those guys, you get good units from that.
Okay, then I'll be coming closer to them and see what I can do.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can have our first objective there.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those games where there's always so many things to do. You've got to just focus on one thing at a time.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit overwhelming at times, but it's also what makes it so wonderful, to have so many things to do. Oops, sorry.
You're fine.
I misclicked a bit.
All right. All right.
Okay.
New quest. There we go.
Yay, faction quests.
Okay.
Pacify at least one village of a minor faction. Then
Perfect.
assimilate them.
So
All right.
that's exactly
Well-
what we wanted to do.
Yeah, perfect.
So
Oh,
how
wait.
about we try?
Did it say in one of your regions?
Oh, sorry.
And they're technically
Um,
not in ours,
yeah.
right?
So I think you'd have to
Quests.
go with the Nidia.
It's in my region. Oh yeah. Ah no,
I think
such
it
a
was the
number
other
of
one.
ruin. No,
Was-
sorry, it was
Yeah,
this one.
it's,
Sorry. Pacifying is.
Yeah, that belongs to your
Okay,
empire.
so yeah, I'll have
But
to
you can go
do
with the ninja,
with the Nidia.
That's fine.
my favorite minor faction,
Yeah, why is that?
because it sounds like my first name.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's always funny. No, but aside from that, I always try to go for the Kazanjis because they have good units and their bonus is good because they provide with influence, which you usually lack early game.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the hounds as well because they give science and the units is fairly good as well. So yeah.
Unless I research a specific tech, I can only attack the village of minor faction, right?
Yep, the barley one is you can hover. I'll let you discover
wow.
your.
Probably in the
it's
on the
it's one-
bottom.
yeah, it's the one
On
on
the
the
bottom?
ones.
Right. Oh yeah, right. This
Yeah.
one, party. How long will it take? 2 turns. Okay, can we wait
That's
2
okay.
turns?
Just chill for 2 turns.
Yeah, okay. And we'll keep exploring in the meantime.
Yeah.
What are you doing with your city, Kia?
Sorry?
What are you doing with your city?
Nothing. Panicking. Okay, what do we want me to build?
Well, remind me what the emerald.
It's an extractor because there is a resource nearby. So it's to
Right.
extract the luxury resource. And I
This
think
one.
emerald provide with a boost in fortification.
We have
Okay,
titanium
so we don't
here.
need that right
No,
now.
we don't need that. We'll need that later on, but it's
Oh,
fine.
I'm sure we will.
So I've queued up Founders Memorial because it gives all types of feats in my
Yeah,
city.
it's
So
good.
that's really
It's a
useful.
good idea.
And then the Emerald Extractor that will give us some time to plan other things if we want to.
Yeah, we'll see when we finish the founders. I'm
Mm.
not sure we'll need the emerald extractor right away.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you research after the Parley tech. But maybe you will unlock something more useful then.
Yay! We have one more population in our city.
So what are your population doing? So now you're focusing on food.
Yes, but maybe we need a bit more industry to get ahead.
Having
What do you think?
population early on is good
Mhm.
because then you can, have settlers and then expand and have another city.
Okay, so should I be focusing food then?
Well, if you look at it, it's 3 turns for the next population, whether you focus food or not.
Mm.
So whether you have it in industrial or in food, it's fairly the same. So I think you can keep them split like that.
Okay, perfect.
And lots of keys for the Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. We have more games from Hooded Horse coming, and during this segment, we'll have Shadow Gambit. So I think we have 5 keys for Shadow Gambit, which is, I think, the only game of the list today that I don't know. I love Hooded Horse games, but I don't know that one. So maybe I'll just grab my phone and get in chat as well and try to get one of these keys. So you're going to have some basic maths to do. As you can see, just to fight bots. So if you're able to do 3 + 1, you should be able to claim the key for yourself.
So what we saw right here when trying to parlay with the Marno faction is that they want money.
Of course.
They
do.
want 50 dust, and we do have 50 dust. So I suggest we parlay and give us the money.
Yay!
All right.
You completed your first quest.
Yay! New objective. Find and talk to the other ninja village located in
Oh.
the same region. So we'll be
Okay, well, that's
exploring the
okay.
region and looking for the other villages. If that sounds all right. to you.
I think it's very cool because having villages early on the territory you've settled is going to give you a good bonus when you
Okay.
assimilate them, when you pacify them first. So you've got a good spot to put your city on, I think.
And you want to remind us the process to pacify them.
There's 3 ways of pacifying them. So Kia is going for the quest, which is the most peaceful way. It's good because it gives you bonus and it pacifies all the villages from the territory at once. You can also bribe them, which is basically you give them money and then they become pacified. But you have to do this village by village. And the last one is attacking them. So it's basically you destroy the village, it triggers a fight, but then you have to rebuild the village in order to gain bonuses from those villages.
Okay. Otherwise, it's not pacified. It's just eradicated.
It's technically pacified because it won't
Sure.
burn any army, but but yeah, it's just destroyed.
So I've queued up a tech to be able to construct a titanium mine a bit later.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So I'll be looking for the other ninja village and going through the ruin here, see if I can get some dust or something nice. And I want to talk also to this minor faction village to, make it researching the parlay action worthwhile. 8 die.
8 die.
Greedy, huh?
Wow.
Well,
I'll be back with some more people then.
I think focusing on strategic resource is a good idea, Kara, because the voters need a strategic resource. They have it's part of their symmetry.
Okay, perfect then.
So yeah,
Researching the
it's a good idea.
titanium is going to be useful. So I have a skill point for my hero. Something that increases loot on ruins. Adding more movement points.
I mean, right now we're scouting, so movement sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it
Okay
is.
then.
And it's, you have to look at the long run. It's going to open some other useful skills as well. And this hero is probably, since it's your starting hero, is probably not going to be a governor. So the city skill is not the most useful one.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, look at
Let's
that.
go.
That's
Looks like-
unexpected.
yeah,
no need to come back with more
everything is-
people. I'll be, going back,
Hey, that worked out.
taking that
Great.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yay.
All right. So they've been pacified.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that now we should go settle in that region to get their bonuses?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay, then I need a settler.
Yes, you do.
I'll be queuing it up here and maybe going like
Yep,
that.
Definitely.
If you do that, Chiara, I have to give you a warning because when you are building a settler, it's going to freeze your food production. So all the population that you have in food will be unnecessary. You can place them elsewhere.
Okay, then I wait for the Founders Memorial to be done and then I'll move them elsewhere.
Perfect.
Okay.
Although we'll have to be careful. We don't have a big overflow of food.
No.
So we might, we'll probably be fine, but we might also want to build some kind of building beforehand to keep our production going.
Yeah, I agree. With that
Okay,
statement.
then the settler will have to wait. I'll have to queue.
I don't think we have
No, you
anything
have
so
to.
far.
You have
No,
to
I
go
have-
to your tech screen.
Okay,
Chiara.
then let's go to our tech screen. And this is a food technology.
That would work.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just I'm thinking the order in which I'll research them. Do I keep researching the titanium extractor?
You can't change the order of the
Okay,
queue.
then.
Yeah.
We'll keep it
That's fine.
this way then. We'll take our
Do
time.
we want to build something else before the settler then? Oh wait, what's that?
We-
Search for a relic of the temple ruins.
Yeah, we have to search this point of interest under 5 turns. And we have one more population, so that's great. Oh yeah, we saw
there was
it.
already
We saw
one.
it already.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Then these guys are going to be. Can they reach this point in under 5 turns? Can I do that?
Well, let's see.
Well, yeah, we
probably,
can. Okay, it's a bit
Just.
tight, but we can do this.
And the other guy can scout this next region, which is the one that we want to go to.
Yes.
Can you go to schematic view?
Yes.
So you have take a look at what resource you have in your city. Yeah, you have titanium, right?
And emeralds.
Yeah, but emeralds are luxury, right?
Yes.
In titanium, she's currently researching the tech
Yes.
to exploit them.
It's the same tech for both strategic resource. I think you need also to take into consideration that it's good to have both strategic resource in one of your territory, because you're going to need both. So I think it's also a good idea to check where you can find some glass steel as well.
There is only titanium for now. Oh no, wait, no, this is glass steel. Okay, so this territory where we wanted to settle because we pacified this.
You've pacified the other
no,
one.
the
Yeah.
south.
We didn't?
South of that. We
No,
didn't pacify
yeah.
that one.
Those are
Oh,
the
yeah, right.
Kazanjis. You pacified the
Oh, and
one.
I've never talked to them.
No, you haven't.
So yeah, I'll be going back then this way to make sure this region is really, secure. And you said that they were hostile, right?
Yes.
Yes.
They're all hostile in
Until you've pacified them.
until you
Yes.
pacify them. Not only are they hostile, they are kind of powerful as well. I mean, those are literal demons.
Okay.
So
So we have the alchemist furnace, which will allow us to build a titanium extractor. Let's
Which
see.
we might want to do right now, actually. Or
Yes. Oh, and the settler. I forgot about this. Okay. Do we want first the settler to go and claim this territory, or do we want first to build?
I think you can forget about the emerald for now.
Yeah. Okay.
agreed, yeah. So I'd say titanium is the next one.
Yes. Okay. 11 turns, and also we
But
obtain a quest.
Remember what I've told you, Chiara, about the settlers.
Oh yeah. About freezing up the food production. Sorry.
Yeah, so now it's not
So-
going to be 11 turns anymore.
About this, we are already producing a good amount of dust. I think we are okay about the pace of our tech research, so I think focusing industry could be nice right now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you for your advice. And I think we have a quest. No, sorry. The quest screen is this one. Build a public library. And we
Oh, that's
could
easy.
get Geomic Labs. Is this a good reward? Should I be going this
It
way?
is. It's a tag, so it's free tag. It's
Definitely.
Okay, then.
pretty good.
This is ongoing.
We love
Talk
free
to the other
tags.
Nidia. Talk to the other Nitya.
Got it.
Yeah, and public library. So I'll be queuing it up in my city to not forget about it. And if we ever have some higher priority, we can just.
Mhm. I think
forget
right
about
now
it.
that's a good cue for us. And focusing on production means that all these things that we need right now will get quickly.
Mm.
These guys are still walking towards our point of interest. So let's go.
We're still far away.
Yes, but I think the preview was saying that I should arrive in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one turn. So the following turn, I should be able to research it.
Right.
I hope I get there in time. And these ones are going to be moving towards the village. No, wait. Sorry, I misclicked. Okay, I'll be waiting for next turn.
Oh, isn't this nice, quiet, early gameplay? Because
Yes.
eventually, things get much more active and frantic.
But you've done a good job pacifying nearby villages. So it should stay calm like this.
Famous last words.
Hopefully.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, I have to destroy this village to pacify this one. So I get one way or another. I always end up doing violence.
Well, then you have to bribe people if you don't want any violence.
Oh yeah, sure. But to bribe them, I'll have to research the correct tech,
No,
right?
you can bribe them from start.
Oh yeah. Okay then. Then on my way to.
But it's
Pacify them.
good. It's good farming for experience.
Okay.
Awesome. So we got 80 dust. There we go. If we did want to bribe, then we could.
Oh no, I must defeat it to gain
Oh.
control over it.
Classic.
Okay, so that was my first complete notification. So who are you?
You only have one unit.
Yes, I'm
so-
not going to take him on right now, but I want to
That's
check.
fine. Your other unit is coming. Are 2 units going to do it?
Level 1.
Let's find out.
Okay.
What about buying a unit in the city since we have dust?
I think you need a marketplace for that. But you can try and see if you can. Yeah, you can try and see if you can do a buyout. The thing is, buyout on EL, you only have it on the turn after that. So if you if you do a buyout on a unit this turn, you'll have it at the beginning of the next turn.
And I'm too poor for that.
And we
Yeah,
are
you
too poor.
kinda
Well,
are.
I mean, do you want to maybe finish the settler because that's important, and then instead of doing the extractor, starting to make a marine or two?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
But you know, the thing is, this quest is not going to budge. Like, this unit is going to stay here. It's not going to attack you.
Sure enough.
So you can just do things in the order of priority you didn't fit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what this is the problem with, especially, I'd forgotten how many quests you get in Endless Legend.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to, have that squirrel effect where you're focused on something and, ooh, something else shiny.
Exactly.
My wife loves, RPG games, but she's so frustrating to watch because she'll be like, she playing the Zelda games these last few years, she'll be like, oh, I want to go to this temple. And then I come back 3 hours later. So how was the temple? I haven't gotten there yet because she's used a sanctuary and a guy, and it's so this is exactly. I'm glad you're here to keep us on track because I find all these shiny things and think, oh, let's look at this instead.
Yeah, it's the issue with open worlds where you have so many things to do and to explore. It's easy to lose your focus. It's the same with Endless Legend. Again, as you say, there are so many quests. Like, you have your faction quests, which have the pacification quests, and you have the side quests you find in ruins. And DLC makes things worse because you have things happening on the map, like go kill that Skyfin or go kill that Guardian, and you have so many things to do. So
and I've got. Do you know what FOMO is?
Yeah.
Fear of missing out. I have it big time, and so when I see something, I need to go see what it is.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know, Chiara, you're kind of weak on FOMO.
Yes, I'm very susceptible to it. And as you can see, I've sent my settler on an adventure. So
Okay. It's yeah. do you think? Do you think?
I shouldn't?
It's fine because we don't have any army roaming the map yet.
Okay.
But your settler is kind of weak.
Yeah, but there's no one on the path towards my destination.
Yes.
That you can see.
So far, so good.
Okay. I mean, I kind of like this anomaly here. That gives out a lot of
except
science.
that we haven't pacified that one yet. We want to be in the southern region.
You want me to settle here instead?
South of that.
Yeah, and next to the Secheron.
Oh, this one?
Yep. That's where you pacified the village.
Okay, yeah.
We don't have to go there because you are working on the quest to pacify the other one.
Yes.
So no big deal. Whatever you prefer, you can go for Vedra or for Rouster? South?
Yes, Rouster.
One of those two works, I think.
I like this one because it has glass steel.
All right.
And I think I can always pacify this one, soon after.
Yeah, just by destroying that village or
exactly.
bribing them.
You know, something that I like about EL, it's like my favorite thing to do, is you settle on a territory with a minor faction village, not too far from the village, and then you attack them and you get reinforcement from the militia of your city. And then it's like the easiest fight ever.
So where did we were chatting and then all of a sudden I looked at the screen and that yellow unit disappeared. Did you manage to beat it or did it walk away?
I think it walked away, but it has like a roaming on the same area.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, it's
here.
It saw me.
You can don't forget that you can retreat. You'll lose half of your point, but
that's better than all of
definitely
them.
retreating from here.
Okay,
so
let's move away and wait until I think 4 units would be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been queuing a marine.
Yeah, let's get another one going, I think.
Yeah. Okay, then I'll be queuing it up right now. 2 marines and 1 public library. And this settler is still walking towards his destination. Where do you want me to settle?
I think you mentioned it. The anomaly is fine.
Okay.
And if you settle in between the two, when you expand plan your city with borrow, you can manage to get both. I think that'd be great.
Oh yeah, right.
So right, with the southeast of that A.
Mm.
Okay. And I have nothing in my research queue. Any suggestion?
Yes, I do. Mill Foundry. I've been
Foundry.
eyeing this one. I was like, why the Mill Foundry? Yeah, the foundry. It looks like a foundry on the image.
Okay, this one.
Yeah,
Mill
this one.
Foundry.
Oh yeah, production.
more industry. Okay,
You
great.
need that one. You really do.
Cool.
And so building a settler reduced our population, I believe.
Yes.
Which means that we have one less citizen that we're able to put in production, which is also why things have slowed down in terms of
Exactly, yeah.
producing our Marines.
No!
Oh, come on.
I'm going to die if I retreat now.
Yes, you. No, you won't. You won't.
You'll
because
just lose
you're-
half again, right?
Since you're in your own region, I think you've regenerated a little bit.
Oof.
But yeah, barely.
Okay. I have 4 HP.
So now you need to get away.
Yeah. You really need to regrow.
Yeah, get back to the city. That way you'll have an army of 3 over there. And because even those 2 together are not going to survive. Retreat, heal up.
You can do the good old click faster than AI thing. It works.
Run, first I
Yeah, I
run
was just saying,
Legion.
holding our
Yeah.
breath.
That's it. You've
All right.
mastered the move. Congrats.
Okay, and now, how about settling here? Okay.
Looks good enough.
Seed storage maybe to start, to kickstart the city.
Exactly. Population, then industry, and then the rest.
Okay. Here
Yeah,
we are
in-
still waiting for the Marines.
In 4X games doing exactly that. Population, production, snowballs, because after a while you can just snap your finger and build anything you want.
Yay.
Yay.
Those 2 people living here had a kid.
Can you go to your Empire screen?
Empire screen.
Next planning too. So
Ooh.
I'll
can
keep
you
an eye out.
check? You have you have 2 cities now. Can you check? Can you hover over the picture you have on your Empire plan?
Which one?
Like the top things, for instance. Yeah. Can you like maybe some of the lines? Oh, you can't. Oh, you have to simulate. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. What does it cost to increase it by 1, for instance?
Military?
Yeah, whichever. 40. Okay. Okay, no, it's fine. You'll get there. No
Okay,
worries.
enough.
You can close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
in 2 turns.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll be having
Yeah, you'll have
just
enough.
enough to do that.
I just wanted to make sure you'd have enough in order to use that efficiently. But you
Okay.
do, so everything's fine.
I'll be waiting for the Marine. Sorry, I moved a bit too far. I want to wait for the Marine so that when it spawns, I can merge with it really quickly.
Oh, I don't think it will go all the way to our city.
No,
thankfully.
No. Just, attacks you outside on site, but it won't besiege your city.
Okay.
Yay, Mill Foundry! Finally, you
All
can
right.
And the Marine.
build that one.
Okay. What now? Weapons.
I mean, if we're going to be fighting, weapons isn't a bad idea, especially since we do have titanium,
Mm-hmm.
and we just got a region with glass steel, I believe.
Armor or weapons?
Weapons.
Yeah.
Always attack.
The best defense is attack. So, yeah.
And I should take out the Marine, a new army, and my little guy, you will be joining your new family.
Mhm.
Sorry, right now.
All right.
Okay, our first Iron Legion is looking good.
And I don't even know if unfortunately, I don't think we'll have time to fight.
Oh,
We're going to have to cut this in a few minutes.
Okay,
what a
then.
shame.
Then how about I come closer to them and I see what I
You
can
know what?
do.
Let's have a fight. And,
Yeah.
worst case scenario, we go down.
Exactly.
Kicking.
With a bang. Yeah, do that. Great.
Perfect.
Okay. We have to find him again.
It's a shame. We'll be just a few turns away from having our webs. Or you know what? Even
Just
if
attack them.
I was going to say
Yeah.
attack the village, maybe, because that
Exactly.
way we'll pacify the other one, and we'll have our second region with a pacified village.
Oh,
Worst
this
case-
one?
No, the one close to you. Because,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your quest.
Oops. Roaming army attacked me.
Well, they're lost.
That's okay.
Do you want me to fight?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea, just to see how old school it looks.
Okay then.
Okay, so Kiara, the thing that you need to know is that we have initiative. So if you take a look at the top line, you can see who is going to attack when.
Okay.
So now you see that you don't attack first.
And keep in mind that one of your units is almost dead.
Oh no. They will be just playing as decoy then.
You can maybe, if you want to try to protect it, you can, do a wall of units. Like you. Well,
Okay.
never mind.
That's
Sorry, sorry.
Never
I
No,
I'm
it's
not
okay.
Never mind,
playing
never
my
mind.
face
You can
anymore.
launch. They'll come towards you, and then you
So-
can counterattack.
Who's my weak units? It's
one-
them, right?
Them,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
So they're fine the way they are, actually.
Okay then. Launch. Oh, they ignored my weak guy.
It's okay. Now you can go all around them.
All right. They're both pretty weak, actually.
So 2 on 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good.
It looks good.
Okay then. Launch.
These are weak. You're fine. There we go.
Yay!
Yay.
Congrats!
Wow.
You
You've
barely
cleared them.
took any damage at all.
Wow.
All right, and let's finish off with the village. We might have to wait until next turn for that. I don't know if you can attack this turn.
I think
No,
oh,
I can't.
No. You need a movement point.
All right, well, let's end the turn.
Oh
Ooh.
wait, my hero leveled up.
What's the eagle?
One plus
Mhm.
one vision.
It's not great, but it will open some cool stuff later
Yeah.
on. So
Okay, then apply. And I wanted to see if I had any equipment I could equip.
Not yet.
Not
I
yet,
think
okay.
nothing very interesting. We're close to having the weapons, but we won't have them in time. All right, and our last turn, and now we have our weapons and armor. And thank you.
Frustrating.
Mhm. So what should we research for fun? Let's say
Whatever
money.
money. There you
Okay.
go. All right, our last fight.
Ready to fight.
Yay.
And they get to play again first.
Yeah, they
Mm.
have low initiative. But I
Um,
think in the counterspell guys, they're kind of squishy compared to
Yeah.
the Marines.
Okay, sorry. I'm moving my weak people on the back lines.
Mm-hmm.
How do I say that I want to attack them? Oh, it's
It's
after,
the
right?
deployment. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to say ready and then
Ready?
you can. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so these two guys are attacking them. Why are
There's one
they
missing, isn't there?
not attacking them? I want everyone to target the same person. Oh, they are
Bullying.
too far.
You'll crush them anyway. Just
Yeah.
go
Okay, let's
for
go,
it.
let's go. Sorry.
That's
I'm
all. That's fine.
overthinking this.
Oh, well, it's a good thing you moved your weaker guy behind then.
Okay, they are focusing this one. I think this is good.
Oh, good. They switched.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are they gonna get him?
It's
still
so
alive.
frustrating watching Yale's battle system.
So we can expect that number 2 has better battles.
It does. I think I'm quite confident saying that.
Sorry,
right.
Marine. You served your purpose.
Yeah, thank you so much for your service. And thank you. There we go. We got our
Yay.
reward.
15 gold.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, both of you, Kia and Nitya, for joining me for this this gameplay, showing off where we're coming from, and soon enough we'll be able to show where we're going.
Looking forward to
Absolutely.
Thank you for all your advice on this walkthrough. And thank you for having us tonight.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yes.
And I'm so happy to have you back with me.
Hello, Bill.
How are you?
Very good. Very, very good.
All right. Can you tell us what you do? Why are you the guy with the data?
Yeah. So I'm data analyst here. I've been in Amplitude for 4 years now. And basically what I do is that I analyze all sorts of data here in Amplitude. And the data I like the most is the data coming from you guys, coming from the game you play, the Amplitude games you play. So broadly speaking, when you play Amplitude game, you send data, anonymized data, and we, my team and I, we analyze the data and we do like a very cool dashboard and analyze for the direction and the game designer. So yeah, that's it.
So if everyone says, yeah, I always play science and humankind, you can tell them, no, guys, you don't. Look at this.
Exactly.
Or,
that's a nice role.
Yeah, very cool. You get to see all of everyone's habits, and obviously it's very useful to guide the game, the existing games themselves and the new updates. Seeing maybe, I don't know, for Achilles, it might have been that, people aren't playing military as much as maybe we think they should. So it means that maybe there's something wrong with it. Let's focus on that. Or in the case of a sequel, for example, with Endless Legend 2, it shapes kind of what people like, how they actually, not how they say they play it, but how they actually play it. And so what you're going to want to incorporate in the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, data helps to balance the game, to see the feature engagement, to monitor the activity. So and data is in every stage of the production of a game, because like we have the insiders program, and we'll be able to like see the trend in the gameplay for our players.
Very cool. What do you have for us? What is this quiz?
So I prepared a quiz for you, Bill, and for the community. The goal will be to try to guess the right answers. The right answer, sorry. And you'll be able to play with your channel points. And it works with the prediction. So yeah, you'll see.
Yeah. So basically, on Twitch, you'll get like a pop-up in the chat saying, "We have a prediction going," and you'll have a few options, and you need your points to participate. If you don't, you get points just by watching. So if you've been watching the stream for a while, even just today, you have lots of points. And if you don't have any points, just follow the channel. This is not a pitch to follow us specifically, but follow the channel, and you'll get a few points right away. And within a few minutes, you'll have just enough. It's basically a system of wager. If you wager a whole lot of points and you get it right, you get more back. And if you wagered a tiny bit amount, then you'll just get a small amount back.
Yep, exactly.
So what is your first question?
The first question is about Endless Space 2. And yeah, you have it on screen. What was the most played faction in Endless Space 2 in 2024? Just so you know, it's I've gathered the 4 most chosen factions, so it's a bit difficult.
Okay, so okay. So you have about 2 minutes once the prediction comes up to wager, and I'm going to participate as well. I got the questions already, but not the answers. I'd be tempted to go United Empire because it feels like the vanilla choice. You know what I mean? Kind of like in a lot of games, people just play as human.
That's true.
So I have no idea, so I'm just going to go with United Empire.
Yeah, and also it's in the tutorial, the faction played in the tutorial that can help.
Because switching factions, if it's played very differently, it might throw you off, and you might want to go back to what you learned the game with.
Exactly. And all these 4 factions, they are pretty easy to play. It's not like the Unfallen, really hard to understand. To talk a bit more about the Volters, it was a bit unexpected to see the Volters in the top 4 because it's a DLC faction.
Oh, yeah.
and but we know that it's a fan favorite faction, and they have been in Endless Space 1, in Endless Legend, and in Endless Space 2. So yeah, it's really cool to see them here.
We do on the numbers.
Yeah.
I'm seeing some A's and C's in the chat. So United Empire and Horatio. Okay, so is the majority right? Let's see, drum roll.
And
All
yes,
right.
yeah, that's
By a healthy margin.
Yeah, exactly. So you were totally right. The players like to play the human faction, and it's in the tutorial, so it's straightforward. And just a word on Horatio. It's cool to have Horatio here because it's like an iconic character in the Endless universe, and it's a pretty straightforward gameplay. So when you play Horatio, you know what you're gonna do in your game. That's cool.
Oh, very cool. All right, what is the next question? All right, let's see if I can get them all wrong.
You
now.
have
I didn't expect anything, but hey.
100% good answer right now.
So question number 2 is again for Endless Space 2, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So what was the most achieved victory tap in Endless Space 2 in 2024? Just to explain a bit, because I know it's a bit hard to understand the difference between Conquest and Supremacy. So Conquest, you win by Conquest when you control a certain percentage of the star in the galaxy, and the Supremacy is when you control all the major faction home system in the galaxy. So that's the it's a tiny difference, but it is.
Well, there's a very good. I was going to say science because that seems like the easiest thing to, not necessarily to achieve, but to wrap your head around. But Louvlin in chat is giving a good point that if everyone is playing Empire, they might not be going towards science. But I'm going to lock it in. I think science is kind of the default, I think. Because Conquest and Supremacy is, you can't just stay in your corner and do your own thing.
Yeah.
That's how I play. I'm just basically projecting myself through these answers.
I agree with you. Science is, when you decide to play science, it's easy to evaluate your progress because you see the tech tree, and you know how far you are or how close you are to the victory. Whereas economic, you don't really know what's the number of dust you have earned, and
and for no one's in science, no one's going to throw you a curveball like they might in, you're fighting and all of a sudden there's an impassable wall. There's a big army. Science, you just keep going.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see. All right. So those are the predictions. So most people thought Conquest. And what is the answer? Drum roll again. Oh, that was so close.
Yeah, it's very, very close.
Wow.
Yeah. As a data analyst, it's a bit hard to work with this tiny difference. So I can't give you a real insights on what the behavior. And from what I feel as a player is that what we said earlier, science is very, very straightforward, and contrary to economic, and you don't really know what you're doing, and it's a bit hard to evaluate how good you are in the game.
I'd be curious to know, because maybe Conquest and Supremacy might also take longer. So I'd also be curious to know, this is data from games that were actually completed.
Yeah.
How many people tried a certain type of victory and just either stopped playing or lost trying another one. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I have the number. That's a very, very good point, actually, because by analyzing the data, we've discovered that around 10% of the games are really finished. I mean, you have when you have like the end
victory
game
screen or victory or
screen.
loss screen, but the actual end screen.
Exactly, and because what we understand for the strategic games is that you don't necessarily finish your game. You know you're gonna you know you're winning the game, but you don't like necessarily going for the like end game screen. So not all the games are over.
Yeah,
just a few percent.
Someone in chat is saying, I agree that it seems like a good thing that the victories, the percentages are so close. It means that they're all viable and options that people want to try.
That's true. That's true. It means that it's a pretty balanced game.
Yeah. All right. And now question number 3, and I believe we're switching games now.
Yeah, it's on humankind, on Tier 1 culture. So yeah, what was the most chosen Tier 1 culture in humankind in 2024? Yeah, to give a bit of context, Zhou is the Chinese culture. They're really good at influence. Egyptian is the industry culture. Arabians are the food culture, and Babylonians the science culture. So it's very different choice, and that having those 4 different culture and different play style means that the game is in the top 4. That means that the game is well balanced.
Oh, I don't know for this one.
This one is.
I don't think it would be A. Again, I'm just projecting myself. I wouldn't pick A, I don't think. But any of the other 3 would be... Because I tend to like... I mean, science is always my default. But having, food early to grow your population, then switching to production works well. I think for the majority of players, I'd still go B. Just for the kind of early production.
Oh. Yeah, I mean...
Hello. Okay, this time I'm not mute. So the prediction from the chat is 0 for the zoo. 0.
Okay.
58% for Egyptians. 30. What? That changed. Okay. 53 for the Egyptians. 36 for the Arapans, and 9% for the Babylonian.
Only 9, huh? Well, I'm with the majority again. Have we all won? Oh, that one's close. The others I had a clear opinion on. This one I'm not too sure. Wow.
So yeah, the Egyptians are the first. We noticed that the using the industry is very good at snowballing like your economy, your city building, and it's like a very strong choice to do that. And Egyptian, they're also like very mainstream, very well known, and it's also like a lore choice, not just
sense.
about gameplay.
Yeah,
so
you want to choose something that's familiar to you. Yeah,
exactly. And for the zoo, we noticed that we have a large community of Chinese players, which
and again,
is really
it's
cool.
familiar to them.
Exactly,
Oh.
and maybe it's not the gameplay choice, but it's the art choice, and that's how we have a strong amount of players playing the job.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
You're really good
3
so
for
far.
3.
Yeah.
All right.
And the last one is really hard. So
I'll just roll a die.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's
What
see.
is question number 4?
It's also on humankind, and it's about the number of empires in the game played in Humankind. So
Oh, and
yeah.
it's solo because I thought it was. Originally I read it as multi, and I thought, oh, easy 4, because no one has like a 10-person friend group.
Yeah.
You just play with your close friends, so it would be
Exactly.
4. But if it's solo,
Yeah, and yeah, this one is really really hard, and I explain to you
do you have the reason?
Yeah, I have the reason, and it's always even numbers. Maybe people like.
People do like even numbers.
Exactly.
There's something about them. I'm gonna go for 10, I think, because that's you want a complex. You want a something big, have a lot of options for alliances, and by the time you get to the end game, you're down to 4 anyway. Whereas if you start with 4, then if you're military, for example, halfway through the game, there's 2 of you left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for
point.
10. People want to have all the bells and whistles, as many options as possible.
Yeah, that's true.
But chat is very divided on it. I'm even seeing someone put E.
Yeah, it's a fair point for 10. You want when you're expansionist, you want to like beat everyone and beat all the 9 other empires. We'll see. We'll see after. And
I'd say 8 or 10. If it's under 8, I'll be very surprised.
Hello, it's time for the prediction. So we have 26 for the 8 for the 6 empires. We have the 12 for 8 empires. We have 62% for the 10 empires. And we have 0% for 4 players.
I may have influenced the vote. I don't know. Maybe I gave my answer too early. All right, our last drum roll of the evening.
Bam.
Oh wow!
Ah.
Oh no! My perfect score.
You are close. So just to explain a bit why the score are like that.
Is it the size of the map or something?
No, actually, it's when you launch Humankind for the first time, you can choose what kind of strategy games player you are. So your profile. You have 3 choices. The first choice is I'm a very beginner player on strategy games. The second is I know about strategy games, but I don't know Humankind specifically. And the last one is I have already played to Humankind and I am an expert on strategy games.
Most people, I suppose, choose the middle option.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is normal because Humankind players they know strategy games and they didn't play Humankind before. That's logical.
Of course.
And when you choose the middle choice, you have predefined settings when you play. So it's 6 players. It's 6 players on a normal map, average size, and everything predefined. And so you play your game, and after when you play your second game, you're gonna use the same settings, the same world map settings. Not every time, but it stays like in the long term.
Well, kind of what we were saying earlier about the United Empire as well. You stay with something that's familiar that you already know the gameplay for.
Yeah. Exactly. That's it.
Well, I said I would be very surprised under 8. I am surprised.
Yeah. And for the 10 players, because it's in second place, it's what you said. And people playing Humankind in 2024, there are a lot of advanced players. They played since the release, and this kind of hardcore gamers, they like to play with 9 opponents and to beat them all. So that's why we have a strong.
So we've got the bias here of people watching the stream. Myself, we all play a lot and we know, and so we tend to think that we're the norm, but really we're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, very, very interesting. I hope we do this again next year.
Yes.
So it's very cool to get this insight and to see kind of a peek behind the scenes. I can't imagine the amount of trends that you can see, and that it's one of the ways we're going to talk in a second about how Amplitude likes to work with the community and get feedback. And this is one of the ways that people give feedback just by playing.
Yeah.
And I'll also be curious, for example, saying that now there are a lot more advanced players than there were in 2021 when the game launched.
Exactly.
So I'm sure that number has also changed over time because early on, probably very few people played with 10 players. And now people say, well, I've done 6. I know all about that. I want to try something else.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. People before they played with 6 empires, and now they are expert and they like the challenge. So
cool. Well, Bart, thank you so much for sharing all this insight with us.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to more information next year on Endless Legend 2.
Yeah, why not?
But meanwhile, after
cool.
having the kind of behind the scenes feedback, we're going to move into feedback that the community is giving directly to the developers through co-creation and through the Insiders program. So I've got some more developers to join me for that. I think we're going to have a little quick break. Thank you so much, Bart.
Thank you.
And here are my next developers, one of whom you saw yesterday. Come on over. Nice t-shirts, guys. Laurine, welcome. Augustin, welcome. So, tell me a little bit about yourselves, who you are, what you do at Amplitude.
You go first.
Thank you. Yeah, you were yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm Augustin de Vita. I'm the producer on Endless Legend 2.
All right.
And I'm Laurine. I'm a live ops manager at Amplitude.
All right. And what is it that, why are you here for the kind of co-creation and, working with the community segment? What is it that you do with the community?
You can start.
Okay. So with the live ops team, what we do is that we work very closely with the dev team, and we try to be kind of a bridge between the communication team and the production team. So we actually are involved in all the ways that we work with the community at Amplitude. So we talked about it yesterday, but we have the Insiders program that is currently ongoing for Endless Legend 2. And we also work on different subjects with the production team. So we actually planning on having a co-creation contest for Endless Legend 2. That's something that we do a lot at Amplitude, that we did a lot in the past, something that is very, very deep in our DNA. So that's...
And I think that's something that, we talked about it yesterday with Sega. Sega being just a huge machine. It's something that's hard to do when you're part of such a big machine. And now that you're independent again, you want to go back to those roots and do as much as you can.
Yes, that's very true. So yes, with Sega, it's as you said, it's a huge machine. So
it's got its good and its bad points.
And in terms of processes, everything takes longer, and it's more difficult to be really close to the community, because that's something that we need to be very agile, very quick to react. So that's that was clearly a challenge when we were at Sega. But now that we are back to being independent, that's something that we really want to put back at the center of Amplitude, working with our players, involving them in a lot of different ways, and even having them create part of the game with us. That's something that we really want to put back in everything that we do with the community.
All right.
Yeah.
And if you see some keys being distributed in chat, just like before, this time is for Against the Storm with all its DLCs. That's a game that I've played before.
Can we play?
Hey,
I want one.
Take your phone out. And yeah, so, again, Hooded Horse being the publisher for Endless Legend 2, we've got this partnership going on, and we thought that, hey, we've chosen Hooded Horse for their games, among other things. So, check them out. They've got really good stuff. So we've got a lot more giveaways, for other events. But for today, this is going to be your last chance for our last segment to get some, Against the Storm keys. So, co-creation has always been at the heart of Amplitude, and early access even has been a thing since before early access existed. How did co-creation start exactly?
I think it was something that was always in the mind of Romain, our founder, and Mathieu, our co-founder. They really wanted to do 4X's game, and they were like, who's better to help us do 4X's game than 4X players? So like, involving the players is something that really was at the very foundation of Amplitude. And it's taken a lot of different forms, it's been early access, as you said, it's allowing players to test the game really early on, but it's something that they always wanted to push even further. And they were like, how can we involve the community even more in our game? So we had votes on some aspect of the game, being like, oh, we have 2 designs for the ships. Which one do you like best?
And I think even, there was one hero in this dungeon that was, every trait almost was chosen by the community.
Yeah.
And originally, I think the very first co-creation was Endless Legend with the cultists.
Yeah.
Which is still today a fan favorite because, we talk about ownership. It's the communities. It's their class, their faction that they were able to form the way they wanted it. And so that's something you still want them to be able to do.
Yes.
Yeah, we want them to be really included in the creation of a major faction, and we want them, just like the cultists, really be involved in the process. On production side, we're going to try to have as much as possible from this major faction guided by the players and building it with the community and trying to have like all the aspects of the major faction with the community as much as possible, at least.
And so in terms of content, are you imagining things like features and gameplay as well, or in terms of factions, for example, or how impactful are they going to be able to be on the game itself and how it works?
Yeah, we really want them to design the major faction with us and propose ideas, and after we have votes and all of that. So gameplay, designs, even lore, we want really to dive in the major faction with them.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, to give them a sense of ownership.
Yeah, totally.
That people have a part of this game for themselves.
Totally,
Yeah, and we can't wait to see the IDs because they're always very crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and people, yesterday I was talking to Jeff about how well people know the lore. And so some people just know the wiki by heart, and they're in such a good position to suggest a meaningful change, or, oh, you know what? We never really got an answer for why this faction in this game did something. Let's figure out that reason now with this new faction.
Yeah.
Maybe they forced them out, something like that. And so that's now something that they'll be able to know more when they'll be able to play the game very soon, is they'll know where it's going and what's going on. And because do we know when Endless Legend 2 takes place compared to the first one?
Oh, wow.
Are we allowed?
I think it's after.
It's definitely after.
Yeah.
But I don't know the exact.
I think
setting
I had it on my list of questions for yesterday, and I think we rambled on somewhere else.
Yeah, Jeff
So,
is the...
Jeff,
we need... All right,
maybe someone in the chat knows. They know the game better than us, so most of them.
They probably know the trailer by heart and already know, you know what, this type of garb was introduced in, so if not, it's not going to be a well-kept secret that we will keep for a very long time.
No.
It'll be in patch notes soon, or blog post soon. We want to put, it's so difficult. I mean, I can't imagine. You want to keep things secret. You want to get the hype up, but at the same time, you want to get things out as soon as possible to get that feedback in time to course correct if need be.
Yeah, it's I think a constant battle between marketing and production.
We want players to get the game and give feedback as soon as possible. So we have the insiders soon, and we will get a very valuable feedback with that. Maybe it will be enough, and we can change things up. It would be great.
How much you already have had people in the Insiders program on Endless Legend 2 for like a year. Yeah. How much has that already influenced the game?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
For all decisions, we talk with them. We send them design document. We try to engage with them as much as possible. We take the feedback really seriously, and we try to see what we can take from their ideas as well, because they know the game very well. They're very big fans of it. So it was really important to get them really early on the game as soon as possible.
And for people who haven't been in for a year, I think you can go to Amplifiers or Games Together and sign up right now, and you're going to have different waves coming up.
Yeah, exactly. We started the recruitment process yesterday, obviously, and a huge thank you for people who already signed it, because we have more than 2,000 people already. Yeah, so that's a huge thank you. And yeah, the inscriptions are open until I think mid-February, because that's when we're gonna decide who's gonna be part of the second wave, and then the third one. But I mean, even if you haven't completed the survey by February, I mean, still send it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no time limit.
No.
And soon enough, everyone will have access to the early access. I suppose Insiders, though, is a different build that is often
Totally. They have
more
more
advanced.
stuff in it, more advanced. We want to show them things we're working on, developing, and have feedback really early.
Yes, if you not that it's quite alpha, but if you imagined early access being beta, then Insiders is kind of the alpha.
Yeah, kind
and
of,
when
yeah.
that's ready, you push it into early access.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah.
Very cool. Even if everyone should sign up for this to be Insiders. But even if you don't get in, the wish lists are open on the Steam page. So definitely hop onto there and wish list the game to keep updated. We're going to have blog posts soon on the game, published on Steam as well. So we'll want to keep everyone in the loop, because it's so important to get those messages out there and not keep everything behind closed door. We'll fight marketing together.
Yeah.
Yes, and you can go to the Amplifiers platform. It's where we share the most news and content, and as much info as we can as soon as possible, basically. So we want to keep be updated on what's going on the game. That's the way you go.
Yeah, it's a good hub where currently you can find there's all the goals for the community, game time that unlocks things. There's what else did I see on there? There's the forums, obviously, where you've got a lot of back and forths. That's where the co-creation happens, where people can vote on features that they want. So that's definitely a place that you want to be, to just stay in the loop for all things Amplitude. And even if it's not directly on there, Discord is scoured by, as we saw earlier, Kat and Sergio, among others.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, Reddit. So just keep it in the loop, and we'll make sure to get all that information everywhere. But yeah, definitely Insiders, co-creation. Those are really, as you said, in the core of the Amplitude DNA.
Yeah, and it's really something that we want to get back to, and really put back, as I said, as a center of how we do games at Amplitude.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's a great way of doing things, I think, rather than just it prevents bad surprises, I think. Because if you hide everything behind closed doors and then go, ta-da, and people don't like it, well, you said, well, I've just polished this thing for years. I'm not going to change my mind now.
Yeah.
And so if someone years ago had told you should change your mind, then it would have been easier.
For sure, yeah, totally. It's going to be great to have all the feedback from the player on all the things we've been working on. Of course, we're not going to change everything, but on pinpoint the things that doesn't work, will be great, yeah.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for telling us more about the program, getting us excited. I try to resist getting into the Insiders program, because I can't trust myself not to give too much information when I'm here. So the less I know, the better it is. But I'm a little bit frustrated.
Yeah, yeah. Everything has to be kept kind of secret at the moment. So.
Yeah, of course. So very exciting. I'm going to be following eagerly the blog posts coming up soon, and within a few months we'll be able to play Endless Legend 2. And so that's going to be a very exciting time when everyone can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
And it's got to be fascinating for you as well. Announcing the game is one thing, then releasing it is
something else. Yeah, something amazing. We don't do many games, so when we do one, it's something amazing.
It takes years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And we're gonna have several releases because we're gonna have the early access and the full release. So it's each time it's.
Yep, and then DLCs or updates
Yeah.
to tweak, just like we just had with Humankind and the Achilles update. Just things that that was specifically done in reaction to community feedback. So you're in live ops. You know exactly that once the game is released, the work is not done.
Yeah. No, it's I would say it's a marathon, not a sprint. So yeah, the release is not the end. It's just the beginning, kind of. I mean, at least for me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this with us. It's been an exciting 2 days here for Amplified 25. We announced the new game that is coming out that everyone will be able to play soon enough. Endless Legend 2. I hope you are all as excited as we are showcasing the game. Very excited, and I think it was very much awaited from the community. I don't think it was a surprise that Endless Legend 2 was announced. It was a logical step.
So people knew it was coming. It was coming sometime.
You can still be excited even if you knew that it was coming.
Yeah, and I think every time we try to announce something, at least somebody's like, please be Endless Legend 2. So
well, this
now
time it is.
Yeah.
It is Endless Legend 2. So we're very excited to share it with you soon. More information to come. In the meantime, reminder that Humankind is free this weekend until the 27th, and that the Cultures of Latin America is also free forever if you get it before the 30th. So get in all that playtime this weekend to unlock more stretch goals as a community. You just need to play and accumulate a certain number of hours, and you're going to get wallpapers and content for games linked to Endless Legend 2. We won't say any more, but I already teased it earlier for Endless Space 2. We have Steam sales going on, so check that out. And we also have Dungeon of the Endless that is free Dungeon of the Endless Epigee, which is free on the Epic Game Store mobile. Oh, it's been great. Thank you so much to all the speakers.
Oh, thank you, Bill,
of course,
for all of that.
Absolutely, my
great.
pleasure. It was great chatting with you and getting all the feedback and the kind of inside scoops on the big year that it's been so far between the independence of the studio working on all these things and the future that is going to be very bright with the partnership with Hooded Horse and Endless Legend 2 coming out in early access. Thank you so much. There's a lot more coming out in the coming months, so stay tuned, and we will see you very shortly for more announcements, more fun, more games. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.